No. Welcome to the next dimension in entertainment. Coming to you live from the offices of Chapter One Films in Charlotte, North Carolina, this is the 4D Podcast with your hosts, Greg Prinz, Nathaniel Levinson, and Marco Brutus. Sit back and enjoy a deep dive into film. This is the 4D Podcast.
Strategically, you keep the hood, but you have to see the glasses through the hood.
Do this. Ain't doing it.
You're going to break your new glasses.
No, it's good.
You see, this is why Nathaniel cannot have nice things.
I have plenty of nice things. They're all cooking related, though. I treat those with more respect. This is the first time I've worn my glasses this year, but also in like 4 weeks because I just don't need them that much.
Every time you wear glasses, it reminds me that you're a professor.
What is
I'm like, oh,
What are you
doctor.
What are you looking at?
You weren't even looking at me.
I did get Nathaniel a cooking-related thing, though, for Christmas.
Just there you go.
If you're curious, I got him a salt block.
Oh,
I still haven't figured out what to do with that. I
didn't know what to do
salt
with
block.
I figured you'd know.
I'll figure it out.
Throw it at Nathaniel.
We'll figure it out. No, I know what you're supposed to do with it, but I just haven't figured out like what I want to actually do on it.
The problem is you like cooking for 1 million people.
Yes,
and
the
I
salt
think
block
the salt
is
block
like
is like the
cooking for one
size
person.
for like one person.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's reusable.
How do you use this?
Well, you heat it up, and you use it like a frying pan, but it's like a frying pan that seasons your food.
Ooh.
So I think you're supposed to like heat it up really hot, and then you slice meat really thin. You just like sear it, and it seasons it while it does that. So I don't know what we're gonna try. We'll have to try some stuff.
I'm down. I wish we could talk about food this whole entire episode.
Yeah.
What if we were just a food?
Sadly,
If we were not a video podcast, what would we be?
food.
Oh,
I would definitely do some like restaurant vlogging and
That's
stuff like that.
fair. Like just like give our. But the thing is, I would be.
Are we talking about podcasts or like
Yeah,
just
podcasts.
generic
What
video?
would you podcast about?
What would we talk about at a podcast?
Yeah.
Oh, I would probably go something sports related,
Yeah.
but Nathaniel
I figured
over
both
there
of you
is-
would do sports.
Well, Marco is pretty much only UFC and maybe
Yeah.
some hockey.
Yeah, I've been really into hockey lately.
I'm.
I could talk about the weather.
Only football.
For those of you at home,
That's actually not a joke. Wait.
I know that sounds weird, but like I'm actually a super big weather nerd, and I could talk about the weather.
You said that as if
all
it
the
was
time.
like
I could talk about just
gag.
like random science stuff forever and ever.
Yeah.
And I
The
could talk
weather's part of
about
that.
I could talk about video stuff, which is what we do.
Oh, I Get it? So we do the thing that Greg likes, but we don't get to do the things that we like.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
Coming up
isn't it?
next week, weather and food.
Hey, who? Well, I guess Jakob pays the bills.
Yeah, that,
Unfortunately.
Can't admit that. The wires are falling out. Speaking of bills. Anyways, so
time
today
for an upgrade, Jakob.
we're not going to be talking about food or the weather or sports or science.
Although I'd rather talk about literally all
there
of those
might be
things.
some of those within what
Yeah,
we talk about.
I could-
Maybe
I
not
could see
sports.
some weather
there was
stuff in
some
there.
food. They had like some old Doritos bags.
I could.
There's some science to talk about.
Is there?
I mean,
It's kind of the CW. Okay,
we're gonna
but
be talking about the last
Stronger
season
Thongs,
of Stranger Things.
season 5.
It is the
Cinquecento.
end of all things.
And
It's
now
the
that it's
end of
over,
Stranger
I'm happy
Things.
that it's over.
Things are no longer strange. They're just things now.
They're just things. Now. They're no longer stronger thongs. The thongs have been downgraded. They are just thongs.
So we're gonna spend today's show. This is kind of our. We had a wrap up of season 4, but this is our specialty episode because it lined up so nicely. Just
I wouldn't
with
call it a specialty. I would just call it a special.
a special. There you go, special episode. We will be officially
We can do a
launching.
podcast about pedantry.
What is that?
Being pedantic, like the difference between special and specialty.
We could also have a podcast about what's in the dictionary.
I would rather jump in that small trash can over there.
All right, get him.
Anyways, Marco, what's our date for the show when we're kicking back up? We just talked about this and I forgot. It's
February the 3rd,
February
which
the
is
3rd.
the day before this guy's birthday.
Hey, hit yourself with a horn.
That's right.
Well, it's before, so it
He's not
doesn't
as quick
matter.
on the sticks.
I'm not as quick, but also it is the day before my birthday, which means that drinks will be
Yeah, I was
had.
about to say we'll
Nice.
bring
We'll
in
bring
drinks
some
for
drinks.
sure.
Yeah, for sure.
We will be doing.
We got those nice ice cubes.
We've got those nice ice cubes. So we will be doing, since we have a long time to do before the episode.
Yeah, it'll be 4 weeks.
We were going to be
doing
watching
10
all of
movies.
the 28 movies. So the 28 days later, 28 weeks later, 28 years later, and then the new movie that just came out. It's
28
coming out
bones later.
next weekend, which is 28 years later, The Bone Temple.
No, it's just called 28 Bones Later.
28 bones. Bone saw is ready. So that will be happening on February 3rd. So if you'd like to join us then, go ahead and watch those movies. Me and Nathaniel have watched the first 2, and I can
Are
tell
we
you
gonna
one's
rewatch
great,
them, or-
and one we don't have to because we just did
Yeah,
that.
we
Marco
just did that.
will.
It's not like they're that complex.
I haven't seen any of them. I don't even know what they're
First
barely
one
about.
is good.
To be
You
fair.
are going to see Cillian Murphy's penis
Yeah.
for quite a while.
You do get to
Perfect.
see. It's a surprising thing. I tell you what, I
Yeah,
did not
because
think
the
that
camera's like
existed.
zooming out, and you're like, "Is he going to get up?" And it's like, "Nope, dong." And then he's just like walking around.
Yeah, it was a random Cillian
act
Murphy
of
dong
penis.
that kind of slapped you out of nowhere. No pun intended.
It's kind of whipped out of nowhere.
But before we kick off season 5, we are going to have this special.
Special.
This
So specialty would be like we
do this
specialize
frequently.
in doing this.
okay. Well, we do
no,
have
no.
special episodes, but we
Yeah,
just
a
call
special
it.
episode is like this is what we not. It's funny because they're almost exactly.
Let's
opposite.
do a podcast on pedantics.
Specialty,
Yeah, right?
A specialty is like this is what I do.
Yes.
better than anything else.
Correct.
Whereas
Yeah.
a special
I-
episode would be like we don't usually do this, but
Fair.
we're doing this now. So,
So we're just going to start talking about Stranger Things.
I don't
Stranger
want to.
Things.
I'm trying to put it
Jeez.
off.
I can't.
I don't know if you
You
can tell,
can't-
but I'm really trying to not talk
I
about Stranger
understand
Things.
that, but also I don't want to be here until 11 o'clock at night talking about Stranger Things. I really don't.
alright.
I don't
So
want to be here till 9 talking about Stranger Things, but
Here we
say
are.
that.
Okay, so let's start with this. Marco is kind of pitter-pattered around Stranger Things, so he doesn't have
Yes.
as much to add. I know that you and I both watched the entire series, start to end.
Recently.
Yes. So before we dig into like specifically season 5, Stranger Things is over now. How did it leave you feeling as far as just like the whole series? Like it's done, it's wrapped up. I know we just watched the final season, but more so like as it all encompassing, how do you feel about it now? The whole
I've
series.
seen a lot of people talking about, people are making a big deal about the ending finale for a multitude of reasons. But, a lot of younger kids, this was like something they grew up with. Whereas for me, I came back and I watched it and it was good, but it never really like gripped me because I wasn't a kid of the 80s. So I know a lot of people who had nostalgia for the 80s. It was like really big for them. And then, of course, a lot of kids who grew up with the kids in Stranger Things, it was really big for them. Like they had this kind of parasocial attachment. It wasn't one of those shows that I felt like that with.
Okay.
So I enjoyed season 1. I I thought season 1 was excellent, and if I were to go back, I could watch season 1 again.
Yeah.
Because it is nice and self-contained. Seasons 2 through 4 are watchable to various degrees. They have good parts, they have bad parts, and then I'm glad it's over.
Okay, that's fair.
Without giving away my thoughts.
What about
five.
specifically like the way it wrapped up in talking about like maybe even just the ending of the final episode, how like they sent
the
off
actual finale?
Was that satisfying
some
at
of it
all?
was okay. So
Was that-
so this is we were talking about this earlier, but let me just get it out of the way. I despise season 5. I thought it was easily the worst
Fair.
season. It was just trash television. But the finale was weirdly the best episode.
Yeah.
And that's because they did give everyone for the most part, a good send off.
Yeah.
I thought it was, given how bad the season was, I thought the finale was acceptable.
Yeah.
Not great. Not like, oh, it's so heartwarming to see all these people do it. I thought it was acceptable. Again, when we get into like each person's specific ending, I think half the crew had a really good send off, and half of the crew had a retarded send off. So we'll get into
Not
that.
pulling any punches.
No, this season made me very mad.
Yeah. No, that's fair, and we're definitely going to get into that. So for me, I think that I was probably the biggest fan of this show. Watching it all the way through, I have like deep memories of watching. I think the first season came out, and I'm pretty sure I watched it like 3 times when it first came out with different people. I'm like, you haven't seen this? Watch through the whole season with them. You haven't seen this? And watch through the whole season with them. And so I have very fond memories of that. To where when season 2 came out, it was like counting down the days. Prepared like a meal with all my friends. We like had Eggos and old school Pepsi out of glass bottles, and like we watched like binged like 6 or 7 of the first episodes that night. So that was a lot of fun. And I did a similar thing with season 3 where it was just watching it with family members, and then actually watched this entire season with my sisters. So I do have some emotional resonance with the entire series, as we'll get into. All of them pretty much have problems. The first one had the least amount of problems and was I think in all regards good. Some of the villains and the deeper, if you dig a little bit deeper, you're like,
there's a little bit of silliness there, but
there's a little bit of silliness. But overall,
I think the season is a very solid season.
It's very good, and I think you put it well. Where, and from varying degrees, all the other ones had some problems. Season 2 started to have a lot of problems and tried to just be a carbon copy of season 1, but there was a lot more problems that arose as the world got bigger. Season 3 was like slapstick funny, like almost like silly, like it did not take itself seriously.
It was a cartoon.
And then season 4 got a little bit better, although it was still full of a lot of silliness. And then this one was rough. So yeah, I think the emotional send off for me still hit, like you said, like the final episode, in my opinion, I agreed was like the strongest, but it was mainly the strongest just because I personally was like, oh, it's just kind of nice to like the one good element of all of the characters, all of like them, like that was the one time it actually worked because they were all graduating. So I'm like, oh, you finally look around your age, because we were pretending it was like, yeah, there's this time jump. It's been 3 years and now they're graduating. I'm like, it's been 3 years. Like you look the same as you did in the last.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah. So maybe it's because they finally looked good. Like they looked like they were just the aged versions of the first ones you watched. They did a lot of callbacks, like a lot of quick clips of the first season and things like that. So that stuff all worked on me. And I was like, okay, I do enjoy seeing these characters that I've watched literally grown up. Like I can also feel the nostalgia. I was much younger when I watched the first season, and I can, I'm living through that whole thing.
Yeah, so I guess for me, I was, it came out in 2016?
This is 10 years, yeah.
Yeah, so I was 26. So I was like, well out of college, in grad school. So I really liked the first season.
Yeah.
And but it didn't grab me the way it grabbed my younger siblings.
So that's fair. Yeah,
who literally have Stranger Things hats signed by the Duffer Brothers.
Wow.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I did like this send off. I want to say that just because I think the majority of this is going to be tearing it to shreds.
Yeah.
So I do want to say that I did feel good. Like at the end, I was like, hey, you know what? That was still a fun ride through the whole thing. I really didn't like season 5, but if I'm going to take the whole entire series as a total, I like the IP that you created. Like it's a really cool world. It's new. It's not just biting off of somebody and creating a sequel or a remake. So I got to give it like, okay, you captivated the world to go and watch this show, and it's very popular.
Yeah.
So good for you to create an original idea. Was it done very well? We'll get into that.
It almost feels like inverse Game of Thrones season 8 or Game of Thrones season 8. Like everyone was into it when it started, and they're like, wow, this is great. And then it just completely shit the bed in the end. And this one started in the shit and then clawed its way out of the shit. Did manage to rinse itself off, but at least not standing in shit at the end.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, so now let's talk about the actual storyline of season 5, the characters and where they went.
Hi, I'm here. I have opinions on the show as
No,
well.
you don't. Shut up. Can't see you.
Okay, before the
We're
show
not letting Marco
started,
talk.
there were
Let
several
me-
conversations where
Yes.
Marco was like, I'm
Yeah,
not going to
so
have anything to say.
I'm gonna have some
so
things to
forgive
say.
me.
So here's-
Literally jump in anytime you want, Marco. You're a
so,
part of the show.
So here's the deal. Here's my storyline for Stranger Things. I watched season 1 when it first came out. Okay. I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was really, really good. Very similar to you, Greg. I started season 2 and I'm not even sure I finished season 2.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. And then I just stopped watching it. Completely stopped. And this was
Fair.
almost 10 years ago, whenever it first came out. I hadn't watched it. And then we did the previous episode about Stranger Things. So I rewatched all of the synopsis videos as much as I could to kind of keep up
the
with
story
it.
at
Get the
least, yeah.
storyline, just to have an understanding of what was going on so that I could
fair.
kind of pay attention. And then I watched this last season. I'm going to be honest. I didn't mind the last season outside of one episode.
Really?
It was fine. I don't know. It wasn't amazing.
That's
It
good.
was-
I want to hear that perspective.
It wasn't amazing. It's not like, oh my God, it's the best TV show ever. No. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that it was a fine watch.
Okay.
That's so interesting because you're usually the most critical. I didn't think a
Yeah.
single episode other than the last
There-
half of the finale, the epilogue and the finale,
Yeah.
even scraped mediocre.
So the last, weirdly enough, I didn't like the last episode. I thought it just dragged on for no
it
reason.
did drag on for forever.
For no reason. Like there was some reason, I'm sure, if you
Definitely
were
Lord of the Rings.
if you
like,
were
hey, we gotta say
attached-
goodbye to all these characters.
right.
Yeah.
If you were attached to the characters, I could see it
Right.
being
It
one of
was
those where
only decent, like Nathaniel's saying,
Right.
because of what came before.
right. I can see that, and I'm just saying, for me personally, I thought that the last episode was a bit draggy. It
Oh,
didn't-
it very much was.
And if it was draggy in the sense that the last battle, which we'll get into
Will
in
was
just a
super
minute,
draggy.
if the last battle was
he's a
was
queen.
the hour and a half of the 2 hours, I'd have been fine with it because then that makes sense. A big battle. It's the last one of the whole entire series. This should be the biggest. The battle lasted like 20 minutes.
Yeah, the battle was like 5 minutes. It was
It was
kind of
wild.
absurd.
It was wild. So I feel like they missed the ball on that,
Lock and
and
load.
they were so put on other portions of the quote battle, the end game battle
Yeah.
or whatever,
Yeah.
that it just didn't hit.
End game.
I think, yeah, right.
Yeah,
I
it
just
really
think, I
was.
just didn't think it hit. That's
Yeah,
the last
the
thing.
battle and the epilogue should have
Yeah.
been split into 2 episodes.
The
It should have been
battle-
a longer battle, and that's 1 episode.
Yes.
And then the epilogue is its own send-off episode.
Yeah.
The battle was a complete joke.
That was
We'll
a
get into
disaster.
that
It was an
later.
absolute
but
disaster.
it was more so the last episode. I was saying that more so because after all of that, when
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
it's
what
just
are
the
happening,
epilogue.
it's just the epilogue is like that's nice for somebody that watched the whole thing and it has emotional resonance in different parts of the show.
Sure.
I was like, you did a decent job with the epilogue. I liked seeing my
They
characters.
they at least wrapped up
Yeah.
everyone's story, even though I would argue again about half of them were not really good wrap-ups.
Yes.
There were
And we
some
can
that
get
even
into that.
I was like, "Eeh," and I'm not even the one that was like attached to the characters. I'm like, ugh, it's terrible.
All right, so let's
Shall we get into broad strokes of
yes,
the plot?
Let's get into so the general. I'll paint the picture of the final season. So generally, we have Hawkins had been torn apart, and it kind of gets back. We
and there's
start
a
off
time jump, right? We start.
There
like
is a big
several-
time. This is
what's the time jump from
it's
when
not
the
as long as you think, and this is what bothered me. So initially, I was like, "Oh, this must be a huge time jump." These are all like seniors in high school. It finally looks. I think it's just only supposed to be like a few months or like a year. So they just.
So I
like,
think they said
threw-
that. I think they said that. I think it's a year because I think they said Max has been in a coma for like a year and a half.
No,
So
I thought
Max-
it was longer, and maybe, and this
No,
is
'cause
one of the
Max-
questions
Max
I
is in
had.
a coma at the end of season 4.
Right,
That's
so
when
this
she goes
is-
into the
this
coma.
is one of the
and they said
issues
she
that I
was in a
had.
coma for like 18 months, which would
Yeah.
be a year and a half.
So I was actually thinking it was longer than that because she was in the memories for 3 years. That's what I vaguely remember, and I don't know if time there equaled time on real Earth, and that's one of the questions that I
From my
had.
understanding, it was established that she was in a coma for a year and a half. So I think it's a year and a half.
Let me do some
Okay,
research.
look that up, and I'll just kind of give again the broad strokes. So Hawkins is kind of torn apart, but we jump in after they've just patched everything with metal, and we'll talk.
Literally, they just laid metal sheets down over.
We'll get into how silly that is.
Some flex tape, and we're like,
They literally just taped over the upside down. The military is now very involved. There's like a big bad military lady who we'll get into that too. She's a joke.
Hawkins is quarantined.
Hawkins is all quarantined.
According to AI, Max Mayfield from Stranger Things was in a coma for nearly 2 years. So almost 2 years.
So 2 years, but she woke up. Okay. So let's call it 2 years. So in 2 years, they've slapped a whole bunch of Band-Aids on the upside down. The military is now pushing into the upside down, and you're kind of wondering why. And it turns out, you find out later, they've been searching for El this whole time. They want to use the blood from El to create more super people. That's their whole mission. So they're like the human protagonist or human antagonist. And then you have all of the protagonists, all of our heroes, slowly searching the upside down for Vecna. They do this in a very silly way, which we'll get into. And they've been poking their heads in. And then the main story begins right when the season starts, which is that Vecna is now plucking children out of Hawkins because he needs 12 of them to move a different planet towards Earth. And we realize that the upside down is just the tunnel that takes one Earth to another planet, that it is the warp gate. And so he is closing those things by using children's brains. That's the real plot. So it's real. One of the children he plucks is Holly,
which is
Mike's little sister, who is the main character of this whole season, which is a problem we'll get into.
Honestly, delete her from the season, and the season's much better.
And so, anyways, so that's it.
I didn't think that.
She wasn't terrible.
It's not that she was terrible at all.
She wasn't terrible.
To be honest. It was the fact that you have so many characters already, and you're like, great, let's see what we're gonna do with all of these. Like, you got a million
valid.
characters.
She should have been another Will, where she gets kidnapped at the beginning of the season, and then we don't see her until the very end of the
Use
season.
her as
That's
a plot
fair.
device because she doesn't need to be developed. We've got, and it's not that she was bad. Like
No,
again,
she wasn't.
I'm getting a little off track,
Not
but
her
like
fault.
she was actually probably one of the better actors in the whole entire series, and her story wasn't even a terrible part. It's just like that should have been anybody else. You have a million characters you have to develop, and you're not doing anything with any of them. All of them are just, anyways. So eventually, our heroes figure out that this is the plan through a myriad of different things that happened, such as Will getting powers and Elle finding her sister, who's weird, jumping through a lot of hoops. They find their way into this other world where they literally fight a giant kaiju on another planet and defeat Vecna, and then there's an epilogue of them all kind of growing up. So that's the season.
And that's, by the way, that's 10 or 12 hours.
Yeah.
And that's all that happened. Everything was quarantined. Holly gets kidnapped. They go into the other and kill a kaiju.
So let's talk about Holly real quick. I made some notes, and we'll kind of hit on these different points. Holly was one of the notes I made, which is it's the exact thing that I brought up. Like, you're introducing a character who, again, she's not a bad actress. She did fine, although the age difference is actually horribly wrong when you actually look into it. She's supposed to be like
12,
8 or something. No, she's supposed to be like really young. If you were to
I
actually,
thought she was 12 or 12.
They
13.
like jacked it up, and they were like, "Oh, let's just say she's like 13," and that's she is supposed to be in the show. But if you're actually following it through to like indications from the other seasons, she's actually only like her character in the show
should only be
8, and then they're like, "Oh, her character in the show is now like 13," and then the actress is actually like much older than. So, anyways, there's a whole lot of problems with that, but. She does a fine job of acting, but the problem is, how do you make your story in your final season when you have one of the main problems that Stranger Things has started to have is bloat. They don't kill off any of their characters. They're like, Hopper is dead. Just kidding, he's alive. Max is dead. Just kidding, she's alive. Like, they take all of these characters, they add more to them, and then they're just like, yeah, we're just going to keep them all. And now you've got 20 characters that you're trying to like give screen time to, and you're like, yeah, for the final season, we're just going to introduce Holly.
Don't
and
they,
she's going to be the main character.
Don't they kill off one at the end of every season that they
Callie.
always introduce at the beginning of said season?
And that's who you knew that Callie had no chance of living, which was good because I hate her character. So, but it's so funny because they always put in someone who's really lovable. But Barb, not as much. Barb is more of a shock factor.
Yeah.
Death, but Bob, that one hits the hardest. Bob,
Alexi.
And then Alexi, which again doesn't hit that hard for me, but he's still a little tragic. But then Eddie hits pretty hard. I think Bob is the most
Eddie
tragic.
and Bob are
both like
sad.
super tragic. But then Callie, I was like, oh good, We don't have to worry about her anymore. So that's not really a good like again, they were trying to double dip on this character that nobody liked. And they're like, well, maybe we can bring her in for a noble sacrificial death. Like, no, she was an asshole the whole time. And her acting is so bad that people were like,
rough.
she's definitely people were like, she's definitely working with Vecna. She's definitely evil. But her delivery was just so bad.
One of my favorite things about this season was all the people online reading way too much into the story and be like, oh, do you see these minute things? This is what's gonna happen. I'm like, dog, they're not that good of writers.
Have you seen the new conspiracy?
That there's gonna be another episode?
Yeah. The finale was so bad that couldn't be the last episode. It's like,
no, they're
once again, have you seen what Hollywood
really
has been doing in the last 10
fans
years?
are in denial, dude.
Yeah.
Like they are writing so much. They're just like, yeah, there's gonna be another episode, or so and so is controlled by the mind flayer, and
surely.
it's like
no.
I even wanted to believe that one where I'm like, I really hope that Callie's the mind flayer.
You know what it was?
Because she's so ass.
You know what it was?
What?
It was Lost.
Yeah,
It started off really strong. And then
They had no idea how to
it just
end.
kind of gradually declined, and then they had to wrap it up, and they were like, shit, we're in purgatory.
Well,
What?
and then oh man,
You know what? To be fair, I was really hoping that they didn't do this, and they didn't. Was that it was just all one big Dungeons and Dragon game.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
There was some
I
theories
was
that
so
some theories
not
that it was
looking
just
forward
Mike
to
telling
that
a story the
Yeah.
whole time.
I was
that
so
would've been-
not looking
that
forward
would
to
have been really bad.
That would have
but
been the biggest cop out of any
that would've been
show.
terrible.
It would have been rough.
They did
well,
learn,
I take that back.
they did
Lost
learn
was-
one lesson from Lost, and that's like, don't make it all a dream.
Yes.
That's always
Right.
that
Very
is
big
always
lesson.
a terrible
Yeah.
plot twist.
Well, so some of the other things that were kind of big moments in this that irked me were also just like the overuse of Kate Bush. I mean, that song could just go burn and die because man,
It wasn't even that good to begin with. It's
They
fine.
played-
It's a fine song.
I thought that the way they did that scene in season 4 was excellent. It was very good. Like to the point where I was like, man, this is like peak of like what's going on. I think in the show is like that moment. Like it's very cool. You're giving Max really cool development, and her running back to her body and then falling back into their arms, and with the music, it was actually great. Stop it there, please. Just why? Just and it's as if the Duffer Brothers are literally sitting there like. They're like, you remember this? You guys remember this? You remember like the peak? Remember? And I'm like, stop making the characters do that. We all get it. It's like they were watching Stranger Things. He's like, it hurt me. You don't feel what I
It's like, you know what it reminds me of?
Oh my God.
That old Family Guy thing where Peter Griffin would just start saying, "You haven't heard about the bird? Bird. So he start doing that like everywhere. Like that's what it was.
Well, and then they like literally reenact it in season 5 where she's where she's going through the mind of Henry, and she's like, oh, we finally found our way out. Mind you, she had done this before and hadn't gotten to the portal that gets her back to her body quick enough, and it went away. And now she's sitting here in front of it, and she's like, let's have a long speech with
Yeah.
this
Oh, my
girl,
God.
Holly. She's like, hey, look, it's not really about the song. And but I'm like, girl, get to the portal. Go wake up. Your friends need you. And then of course they just play the music again, and then they're both running in opposite direction. Except for this time, it's like they both lost function and didn't realize how to run, and it's all very ugly CGI. Man, the green tints on all these people,
Oh yeah.
like that were clearly in green screen, like you just. It's just
It was bad.
It was bad. It was
There
just.
were,
It all
there were
looked
times.
bad.
Yeah, there were times when even I was like, wait, what?
You can see
How
the
is that
green
red?
around their hair.
Yeah, it was
bad.
a little rough. There was some in there that I was like,
You had,
could
and the
have been
thing
better.
is, like, if it was like, oh, this came out a year after season 4, it's a little forgivable because you're like, okay, clearly they had to rush a couple things, and they were like, well, we can rush the CGI. It just needs to look adequate. This was 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's no excuse
But
for
what's
this.
crazy is that I actually thought that some of the CGI outside of those weird green sheets and things was really cool to look at.
Fair.
I mean, really, really enjoyable to watch.
Like
the
what?
different, like the last, I don't know, the mind flare era, like the actual
Yeah.
the main battle,
The meat
scene,
flare.
The meat flare.
the meat flare, the main battle scene with the sand and everything. I thought that was really pleasing to the eye to look at.
Fair. It
What, the piss
felt
filter
like
over
a
everything?
Marvel movie. It felt like
Say it
a
again?
Marvel
The
movie.
piss filter over everything in the other planet.
it did kind
Well-
of look like piss.
That's fair. But no, I think that and then also when the trucks go through the wall and stuff, that like webbing of red.
Yeah.
that-
Yeah,
I
that
think that's
part looked
really
fine.
cool.
All the
to
stuff
look
that was
at.
more dark
Yeah.
looked better.
That's
but
fair.
then the brightly lit stuff, it was funny because like we climbed out of Earth into a video game.
Yeah, it literally felt like, let's talk about that just because I'm going to unvoid. I was like, maybe we'll go through chronologically. No, let's just talk about that.
I don't think there's any reason
battle.
to go through chronologically. We've already covered like the biggest.
All right, so here, a quick note for the battle scene. It was too short. That was the biggest
At
thing
like
for me.
5 minutes was absurd.
It was.
That's maybe
it was,
the least of its problems.
Yes,
but yes,
I agree.
That's
but
fair.
it is a problem.
That
I
is
do agree.
fair.
I do agree.
But I think with length, they could have solved a lot of the issues that you're likely going to bring up, such as
Nancy Wheeler.
That
doesn't get fixed with it getting longer. That gets worse.
No, because a longer Nancy Wheeler implies that she's not doing as much damage as she is.
Well, it wasn't even that they
guess.
did
So that
damage.
wasn't the
Like
main
this is the main problem you're having. This is like. It's like you remember when the show was good when it was like kids riding around their bicycles, like, hey,
That's
like
fair.
we're going
And
over.
Lucas has a slingshot to try to take on the Demogorgon.
And that felt right. It felt like this is how kids would think to go and fight a monster. And now Lucas has a slingshot, but he's shooting Godzilla with it, and it's working. And you have Nancy, who has turned into Rambo, literally sitting with guns and bullets strapped across her, leading this group of men. And she's like, come with me. And I'm like, dog, you can't just be like, I used to shoot as a kid, and like that solves all your problems. Like she was mowing down.
Yeah. You can't be like,
Elite soldiers.
I've shot a 22 rifle. I know how to handle a machine gun.
like so this girl is like, dude, she's just leading the way. Her like 85-pound self is leading the way, right? On an alien planet. We are on an alien planet now. We're on an alien planet with all these children. These
To be
children
fair,
have
who was going to take charge? Jonathan or Steve? They got eviscerated so hard.
Dude,
if anyone should have been leading that charge, it should have been Steve.
It should have been Steve. That would make tons of sense. Like that is his one. Other than them just being like, hey, just apologize for being yourself constantly. That's your only character role is just go around and be like, I'm a dick. I know I am. And everybody watching is like, why
you
are you
haven't been a
saying
dick
that?
since season
You
1.
you literally, and even then, what, you broke Jonathan's camera after he like snuck around the backyard of your girlfriend and took pictures of her taking her clothes off? Like, yeah, you're lucky he just broke the camera, dude. Like that's a pretty creepy thing to do, Jonathan. Like he was relatively nice about it too. He's like, dude, this is really weird. I don't think I should give you this camera back. And he drops it as he hands it to him. I'm like, that's the worst of it. That is the bottom of the barrel for Steve. And then it was only recognizing my mistakes, apologizing, trying to take care of people I don't want to take care of, recognizing my mistakes, apologizing. I'm like, dog, who's going to walk up and be like, dude, you're just like the best. Like all of us are pretentious douchebags and you're like the cool one. Like, nope. So he's what do you think he's doing when he's apologizing? if anybody was like, hey, I wonder what Steve's doing. He's back there apologizing to Jonathan. He's like, hey, sorry, man, for just everything. Sorry for breathing. And he's like, it's all right, man. You can be a dick sometimes. I'm like, stop saying that. No, be like, no, you're wrong. You saved us. You literally saved us with my baseball bat. Does anybody remember that the baseball bat's actually Jonathan's? It was like, oh, Steve and his baby. It was Jonathan's. He dropped it because he's a little bitch boy. And then Steve came in to save
Can
the
I
two.
unproposal you?
Dude, we'll get into that.
Shoot me.
This man runs back into the house. The two people that hate him and that have been like making fun of him grabs a baseball bat, saves these mother effers, and then they're like, dude, well, I guess you were a really big dick and you should apologize for saving us. I'm sorry.
Steve
Blah, blah,
did
blah.
nothing
I'm Steve.
wrong.
Like, dude. Anyway, so yeah, there's my small rant about.
frustrating.
He's clearly the character I think most people enjoy the most. He is because
He's charming.
Because he's charming and he's relatable. Like he's the only one that has development where he's like, hey, I need to grow away from being like jockey douchebag guy that they all kind of like talk about in past tense. Of course, Steve was the first one I told. Oh my gosh, Steve, like. He's horrible. Why is he horrible? He's only been nice ever that we've seen. Like he's been great the whole show. So anyways, so Steve is apologizing. You have Dustin with a stick and a knife. No, stay with me. Dustin has
when
got
they're
a stick
prepping.
and
When
a
they're
knife.
prepping, like
it does
Nancy's
more
loading
damage.
up all her guns with your bullets, yeah. And Steve's like getting ready, like, yeah, I need to get a gun too. And Dustin's like, I got something better. It's a stick with the machete blade on the end. Like, what the hell?
It's not even a machete blade. It was like a saw blade. It
so
didn't.
dumb.
Imagine poking something with a saw blade. Like there's no point to it. It was literally it was flat on top and then serrations, and that was it. That was what it was. I'm like, what is
if
happening?
they were trying to stab an elephant or a hippo with that thing, they'd be dead.
Yeah,
they
it
would
would've
lose.
just-
The
If
two
they were
of them.
trying to
Imagine-
stab a cat,
Yeah.
a kitty cat, they would be dead.
The cat would kill them.
Yeah, the cat would be like, and just maul them.
If they
Now,
legitimately
I will say, if the mind flayer had been a tree with some branches that needed to be sawn off, they would have been.
Oh, it would have been
all
brilliant. Oh,
over just like
they would have had.
idiot.
So we know again, to get back to we know why they're trying to do this, right? They're trying to be like, okay, well, we've got 12 characters because we don't want to kill anybody, and now we have to make them all relevant to taking down the big bad. Well, 11 at this point is like Thanos. Like this girl flies like basically just flies. She looks up in the sky and she's like, there's a floating boulder. I can hop on it and then hop into the next planet. And I'm like, girl, you were like working really hard to hop over a bus, like to hop over the fence to get into the facility. And he's like, I don't know if you can jump that high. And now you're like, I can jump what's probably a mile into the air to get onto that boulder, onto the next boulder, and then hop my way onto the planet. And then she's like, yeah, I can do it. She does it and then is flying through the air, tears a hole into the kaiju that mind you, this whole time we've seen Henry in his like lair, which looks like a bunch of big legs going up in the air. And I actually called this before the final. I was like, I'm pretty sure that the mind flayer is somewhere we haven't heard about it. I think it might be the thing that he's living in. It might just be like the physical body of the mind flayer. He now has a physical body. I don't know how he got it. I don't know why he was searching for one in season 3. But he has a giant body now.
So if I had to, guess, that's the mind flayer's actual body. And
it was just
the
his
ghost
mind.
thing was him projecting into because the upside down is just like a link between
Correct.
Earth and whatever hell
Alpha
planet this is, Abyss.
planet,
They call it
the Abyss,
the Abyss.
yeah.
But so I mean that one's pretty easily like his physical body is in planet Abyss.
That's
and
fair.
he just projected the dust into.
So this thing wakes up, and again, to Marco's point, we have no idea who he is or where he is, and he wakes up. So our first introduction to him and to him dying is like 5.5 minutes.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh my God, the fight's over.
And then it takes another 5 minutes for Joyce to hack off Vecna's head.
Dude, like, what was that? What was that axe made? Was it made of cheese? Because she had to hit this guy's. This dude's already virtually
She
dead.
didn't understand a saw does this.
He's
and
dead,
she's
and
like
he's leaning
hacking
back,
it
and his
with the
neck is
saw.
revealed, and she's taking full swings with an axe. And I mean, it must have been what, like 15 or 20 hits before
okay.
he falls off.
Hold on.
Keep in mind the build of Winona Ryder.
Well, that maybe
hold
it's
on.
more accurate.
Hold on. I purchased a house. I have a whole bunch of firewood. Splitting firewood is not as easy as it looks.
No.
Just let it be known.
No.
Mind you,
That's not wood.
well, this guy is kind of. I mean, he kind
He
of
looks
looks like
like Groot,
made
kinda.
yeah, he looks like
turned
Groot.
into Groot.
I
He kind of does.
guess.
But what I'm saying is, what my axe at home was probably, I don't know, a 3.5 pounder. That thing was like a 17-pound axe. That thing could have chopped through anything in a swing and a half.
It was just because we needed to see
yeah.
all the characters.
And then not only that, but can we please stop having him gargle his own blood for 5 minutes? it was 5 minutes
Y'all just standing there watching him.
Oh my God.
I just love that so much because I just know how much that bothers Marco.
Oh my God. I can't stand freaking sound effects that go on for too long. It's like when somebody
What's that other
forgets to
movie?
turn off a timer and you're like, just shut it off. Shut it off.
Oh man. So this final fight, it's just, man, it's so
It's a
sad.
disaster.
It's a disaster because you have a show that is relatively grounded, and yes, it got some flack in the first few seasons with being like, oh, it always just ends with 11 holding her hand out and yelling, and that's how she defeats. But I'm like, but that's like
bad things about that too. I'm sorry to interrupt. Can we find something less cringy than this?
it's her only power.
I'm constipated.
Okay, listen. I'm fine with the whole like mind thing, that's cool. That's fine. This, stupid. Just do it with their eyes. Just, you know what I mean?
I mean, they have to ride with it. It looked good when she was a little kid holding her hand out and screaming like that.
Figure
that
out
worked.
how,
I don't know.
She's training. Figure it out.
Oh, dude, the training that was
The training was.
hilarious.
I
That
didn't
was
get the training because that was last season, but I saw the cliff notes of it and pumpkins.
No.
that was this season.
That was this season.
There was training
Running-
montage.
Well, I
running
saw some of
through.
that. I thought it was flashbacks of the previous season.
No,
Anyways,
no.
point is, they should just just.
Yeah, it was.
She should have just been like, man. That's how it should have ended.
So they all get to this planet, and their plan is to go and assault the body of Vecna while she attacks his mind, but she's been kicked out of the mind. There's this brief moment where they're like, hey, it wasn't you the whole time. It was just the mind flare. And he's like, no, it was me. And I don't even know why they included that. Literally, there's this brief moment that I was almost like throwing my Chick-fil-A at the television because I was like, all right, this has been really bad. But if we get Will Byers being like, you're just like me, I will have been like, no. And so it's exactly what he does. He's like, wait, it was never your fault at all. You're just like me. And I'm like, dog.
And I like how Vecna like pauses and looks at him like, is this kid retarded?
Yeah. And in the perfect response, he's like, no,
He's like,
I'm just teaming up with this guy. And he's like, okay. Like, so that's done. Anyways,
what was the point of that? Like,
so the plan quickly changes when I mean, when I tell you it's a big, I say kaiju just means giant
like 5
alien.
stories tall,
This
like Godzilla size.
It's like a Godzilla sized thing. Like it erupts in the far distance when these characters are all walking towards it, and it looks like a mountain. Like it looks like and it's charging towards them, and they're like, of course, at least the show, like they couldn't outrun it. Like in seconds, it reaches them and surrounds them with its many arms.
doesn't step on them.
And then L breaks into its stomach and
jumps
into the stomach,
head.
rips it apart and dives in and starts fighting Henry on the inside. And then they're just like, hey, we've got enough firepower here. It's like, we've got flares and water balloons full of gasoline. We should be able to take down this mountain. It is the size you need to realize.
Point of order.
Okay.
Earlier in the season, like the first time we see the Demodogs come back, or the Demogorgon comes back, it's like in episode 1 or 2.
Something like that.
A Demogorgon shows up, military firing bullets at it nonstop, does nothing.
Yeah.
Nancy Wheeler firing at a mountain-sized Demogorgon.
Well, this is also another big problem
Shreds
is
it.
that the Demogorgons, where do they go?
Oh, did you not see what the Duffer Brothers said?
What?
They Game of Thrones season 8. So I remember Game of Thrones season 8. The showrunners were like, yeah. So she kind of forgot about the Iron Fleet. Daenerys kind of forgot about the Iron Fleet, right? You remember that?
No.
Okay, so in Game of Thrones season 8, right, Daenerys' dragon just gets randomly shot down while she's riding it by the Iron Fleet because they have dragon killing weapons, and everyone was like, why would she risk that? She knew they had those weapons. And the showrunners were like, yeah, she just kind of forgot about it. That was their literal response to why she made such a stupid decision. Well, in this one, the Duffer Brothers said, yeah, well, Vecna felt really safe, so he was like, well, surely no one will come get me here, so he was surprised.
Oh, my gosh.
That's literally the answer the Duffer Brothers gave.
Dog, he's got like these Demogorgons, by the way, unless you are a wine bottle, they are invincible. Like, they are invincible.
Unless you're a wino mom.
Yeah.
They're invincible to everything. Like, they're tossing tanks over and beating entire military platoons easily.
But see,
they're immune to bullets.
What you're forgetting is the military was evil and not women. So they were completely incompetent, obviously.
I also love how like the information that like fire is clearly their weakness has to be free information.
They
like,
knew about that. They had
why are they
flamethrowers,
all
but why
just
they
equipped
had
with
guns when they
flamethrowers?
knew guns didn't work and flamethrowers did, and they didn't all have flamethrowers is the dumbest thing.
Yeah, but anyway, so this final battle, Nancy Wheeler is literally shooting this whatever machine gun AK-47.
It was an M16.
I mean, like this.
She
thing
reloads
is
it
so
by putting her
far,
hand on the carry handle.
It's so far away, this thing, and she aims it, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, I'm curious to know what kind of a response I'm going to see from this beast of a mountain when you shoot. And she shoots, and like the explosion marks coming off of its face are so big that I'm like, if
Did she have
that's
explosive
accurate,
rounds?
that would have had to be like a bomb dropped from a jet. Like it was like that's how far away. And it's like, and I'm like, it's not this big. Like it's like
Oh, you didn't
wouldn't
see?
even
She was
the
shooting,
bullets
and then
wouldn't even
as the
make it
bullets
there.
came out, they went,
They just like it was so far away, and it's like, I'm like, when has that ever worked against Godzilla? When is one dude just be like, he's like, now he's
Marco,
running after me.
You have a decent mind for guns. What's like the general? I realize that the ammunition is important, but like generally speaking, what's the ideal range for using an assault rifle, like an M16 or something?
I would.
like that?
5.56 could probably go about. Ideal is within 500 yards. 1,500 yards is like you're getting out there. 500 yards with anywhere within 500. That's about right. That's your ideal.
Yeah. How far away would you say
That thing was like a mile.
That thing was a mile
that
away.
thing was like
they're not using Barrett 50 cal sniper rifles And even then, it was
its size
like, what are we
changed
doing
so
here?
many times, and then it like chases her into a ravine, while
And
her
then,
friends
and then Dustin
listen-
and
sorry.
Steve stab it with
I didn't
spears.
mean to say yards. I meant to say feet. So 500 feet.
that's
and
way
1,500
different.
feet.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's significant. That's even worse.
So then her friends, and I kid you not, are shooting slingshots with water balloons at this giant.
but the water
but
balloons
the water
were filled with
balloons full of
acetone.
gasoline.
Acetone.
No, it was gas.
No, it's acetone. It was that. Trust me.
Does
was
it light on
acetone.
fire?
Yes.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
trust me, it was
but-
acetone. And here's
What
the
is
biggest
that?
problem. It's nail polish remover.
Okay.
It's just as flammable as gasoline.
Okay.
The point was they put a flammable liquid in it. Now, I don't know if you've ever put gasoline in a balloon.
It just disintegrates the
yeah.
rubber.
Yeah, the latex doesn't play well with organic solvents. So they fill up those balloons with acetone. They're holding it for a second, and it'll just pop in their hand, and then now they're covered in acetone.
Yeah.
Morons.
So these children.
It's science time. Nathaniel Levinson. Teach me, doctor.
I always forget the part of the end.
So, anyways, these children in moments take down Godzilla, and that's kind of like the last fight. It really is anticlimactic. It's over, and I kind of thought, oh, well, the military, there's going to be this big confrontation with the military. Yeah, they just grab them all, and they're like, yep, you're coming with us. And then Eleven's like, no, I'm going to die. And then they're like, okay, you can all leave, I guess. I mean, there are no repercussions for them killing, well, probably came up to
Dozens.
like 50 to 100 like U.S. soldiers.
Yes.
Murdered them. And they're like, we didn't find 11. I'll see
by
you
the
later.
way, what the hell? It's like, what do the Duffer Brothers think the military does?
Oh, also,
another-
I understand. I understand it's the '80s, but those costumes for the military guys, it looked like they were wearing ponchos the whole time. They were like 15 sizes too big for all of them.
And the only one that fit was the tiny little lady that was supposed to be intimidating.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, when that girl grabbed the one dude and yanked him down to her height and grabbed him by the face and pushed him against the wall, and he's like, I'm like, dude, I don't know
Okay.
what is this? U.S. Marine,
Hollywood-
U.S. Army, dude, that's going to be like, yes, ma'am, whatever you say.
Hollywood,
Like,
you have
that
to stop
girl-
doing this. This is a Hollywood issue where they're like, oh, so okay, you can have a woman be intimidating like as a villain, right? But that intimidation is almost never, unless they're an Amazon. That intimidation
physical,
is
yes.
not physical intimidation.
Yes.
A grandmother is not physically intimidating. Like she
Mind
might
you,
be
this
yelling at you, and you're
woman-
like, man, I don't want to mess with her. But like, if a grandmother wants to throw down, I will beat the shit out of the grandmother. I'm not saying I would. I'm not saying I will. I'm saying if I was in a situation where a grandma was like stepping up to me in an aggressive way and like pulled out a knife, I would slap the shit out of her. And
Nathaniel,
guess who would win? It
Nathaniel
would be me.
is a grandma beater.
But
Confirmed.
and mind you, in the
Confirmed.
show, this woman is like 80 years old. She's like 900
she's
at least.
1,000, and she's wrinkled. She's like this little prune, and she's like, "No, dearie, don't you fuck with me." And you're like, "Step on her," and she's done.
Yeah.
What are you scared of?
There is-
and it's one thing if she's like Darth Vadering, where she's like, "Oh, you're out of order," and has someone shoot them.
Yes.
But she literally never does that. She just gets mad, and they're like, "Oh, mommy, no, please, mom."
She makes
don't
fun
get
of
the
every
battle out."
single person that she
So
talks
awful.
to. Everybody that's just like, "Hey, we need to do this." She's like, "Well, blah, blah, blah. What do you think? Do you have her in front of you right now? Well, then you better get your ass back out there and find her for me. Let me just." And I'm just like, "Dog, who is this? Why
Goes
is
back to
everybody
knitting her sweater.
scared?" She was just just eternally useless in the show. Honestly, the entire military were useless in
Oh,
the
they're
show.
so garbage.
Yeah.
I just, man, I know they need like a, and they do this thing. At least they didn't do this. So like last season, season 4, the main, they typically have a scary monster antagonist, and then they have like a human antagonist. It kind of is the play in every season. First season you had the bullies, and then you had the actual Upside Down, and then the second season you had Billy, and then you also had the Upside Down. In the third season, you had the Russians, and you had, the Upside Down. Each of the Upside Downs doing different things. Season 4, you had like all the jocks, and then you have the Upside Down, and like the lead jock dude, dude just doesn't get enough information to know anything, right? So he's like, oh, this woman was like my girlfriend, the love of my life, like torn to shreds in Buddy's room, and then he runs off, hiding from the police. okay, he's angry and he wants retribution, so he's hunting for him. Then he sees, while he's with Eddie, his other friend get lifted into the air and torn into shreds. And he's like, oh, okay, I didn't really believe it at first, but now this satanic thing is real. Like, so Buddy he's acting very reasonably based off of the information he has. He just doesn't have the right information. And then they just tear that mother effer in half. As the upside down goes, it rips him in half. And they're just like, yeah, screw that guy. and then now, at least they didn't do that with this one, where it's like the military know what's going on. They're just like, yeah, we just make super moms that have super babies.
Can we take a step back from and talk about how the whole powers has just gotten
the
absurd.
powers is just
So in season 1, we knew that they were experimenting. It was like an MK Ultra thing, that they gave the moms drugs, and that gave some kids powers.
right.
Okay, you don't need to explain further than that. Just like the U.S. was experimenting on creating super babies.
Yeah.
Cool. I can dig that.
Yeah.
And then it's the same for seasons 2 and 3. Season 4, they introduced Vecna, and they're like, oh, Vecna was actually the first kid with powers that we found, and da-da-da-da. And then season 5, they're like, actually, they took Vecna's blood, and that's how they made all these super babies. Don't ask how 11 is stronger than Vecna. That doesn't make any sense. And so if they take the copy blood and they make copies of copies, then they'll be able to make more Henrys. And also their whole complaint is like, they'll make more Henrys. Like, there was only the one Henry. He was evil before he got into the program. The program didn't make him evil. The program didn't make any of them evil. Like, yeah, you can argue the program was a problem. And then someone raised a good point of like, so if you know that there are hostile alien worlds out there that want to destroy Earth, maybe we need more super babies. Like, you could do it more ethically, but at the same time, you could be like, hey, we need volunteers to come in and have super babies, and we'll very generously pay you for it, because there's an evil planet out there that's trying to kill us, and we need super babies.
So,
But they just they took all the mystery out of the powers. So it being drugs from MK Ultra was a sufficient explanation.
So
We didn't need more than
only rebuttal I have on what you just stated is that 11, to me, as from a person that didn't watch all of the seasons, just one and the last one, didn't seem like she was stronger than Vecna. The whole idea that I got was that they all had to fight him together in different ways and different shapes and whatever. And also he's gay.
He's gay.
Now, I'm not talking about current Vecna when she banishes old Henry when Henry should be stronger.
Okay, all right, fair. If I didn't get
that was season 4.
Let me lay out all the things, because you're right. None of this makes sense, and if we drive through it, we can see it very clearly. So initially, like Nathaniel said, these were kids that have superpowers. We don't really get much information about the other kids, but from 11, we know it's because they were kind of drugging her mom, and it didn't work on her, but she had the kid, and it worked on the kid. Kind of like the Incredible Hulk. Dude's kind of experimenting on himself, has a kid, and it worked on the kid. So we assume that's what the other kids, their whole thing is. We only meet one other kid in the second season, and this kid has completely different powers than 11. Yeah. So it's like, hey, she can do this, but in her, develop this power. So your mind kind of goes, okay, all these kids probably had different powers going on. But then season 4 comes in and is like, they all were pretty much 11. And we don't even see Callie in all these flashbacks. Like, she just doesn't exist. And there's nobody else with different powers other than the kind of like, I have the Force type thing that 11 has. And it's like, okay, all these kids are training that power, and Henry's just there and he's a part of things. And it's revealed we were actually just feeding you guys bits of Henry. Henry was the original superpowered person. So I already retconned what initially happened. So then Callie comes back and says, hey, they're taking my blood and giving it to people trying to make them super babies, but it's not working. They're just dying. So they need the actual thing. And out of all the kids, who was the one that actually worked? And she's like, oh, it was me. And I'm like, what do you mean you were the one that worked? There were 12 kids or whatever it was. You all had the same powers. You all had powers. In some of the scenes, the kids were better than you. You just happened to be the one that walked into the scene late after he had killed everybody, and you kind of miraculously defeat the stronger dude. But that doesn't mean that you were any more Henry than the other one. So it doesn't work by their own logic. I'm like, well, they take her blood. It's just going to do the same thing. It's going to. So, anyways, that all was nonsense as well.
Also, they imply that somehow the power is carried in the blood, except for we know that from this season, Henry got his powers by touching a space rock.
Yeah, that was
another part that I was a little confused on, and maybe I missed it because I didn't watch the other seasons. But why was he in a mine shaft?
Yeah,
Unclear.
what- So that was supposed to be. This is
unclear.
This is the clarity of that. Is
Is
she
this
is
stage play?
no. I don't. This is not revealed from what I understand in the stage play at all. That's a memory of
Right.
of
Younger
Henry's.
Henry.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be slowly revealed that this is how he meets the Mind Flayer,
Right.
and that's how he, I guess, the Mind Flayer gives him the power. That's
That
what he
was
kind of-
unclear too.
It is very unclear. So we're in the same boat. Like there wasn't more information that you're
Well,
missing. He was just
it's-
like, hey, and he admits it to Will, who's like, you're just like me. And he's like, no, I hate the world. And I was like, sure, I'll join your side and we'll go and kill people. And like that was his whole thought.
So my
I-
friend was
but-
literally
but-
like, "Hey,
but-
kid, want to do drugs?" And Henry Creel was like, "Hell yes, I do."
Right, but why? But why was he in a mine shaft in the middle of a desert? What
Unclear.
child
I think. So I
was
think,
allowed to be in the desert by himself
doesn't- and
to go in a
not
mine
gonna have
shaft
answers.
and then to have some random dude who's been down there for an unknown
that is
amount of
completely
time?
unexplained in the show. I think it might be explained in the stage show.
Okay. All right,
Okay,
because
maybe there is.
I thought
Unexplained in the
maybe
show.
I had missed it in season 4,
Nope,
so
you
I
didn't
didn't
miss anything.
question it. But like, I'm glad that I'm questioning it now because that makes no sense.
Listen, they had, so this is what they attempted to do. A lot of shows try to do this, and they did not do a good job of it, where they're like, hey, we need to explain everything. And it's like, well, no,
Yeah.
it's fine that some of this is nuanced. It's the upside down. It's like another planet. And they're like, no, it all makes sense. And it's all because Henry's been doing this stuff the whole time. And if you actually follow that through line, none of that makes sense. It's like, even him, like what we open up in the season where we get this flashback of Will like running away from the Demogorgon and the Upside Down. It's supposed to be a flashback to the first season when he gets captured. That's not even how it went. Like Will was much more afraid and scared and crying and running away. And this one, he's like leaping from trees and falling. And also the Demogorgon is like in the first one, he's like an animal. This is how they catch it.
We're so screwed if it's the Demogorgon.
So, they literally lure the Demogorgon by doing what in the first one?
I don't remember.
They
It's
put a
been
bunch
so
of blood.
long.
They
oh,
cut
right,
their
right.
hands.
Yeah.
So like, oh, it's an animal. It's acting off instinct.
Yeah.
And then later they're like, he's just a foot soldier for Vecna, the general. I'm like, all right, he's clearly not doing his bidding. I know you're trying to do this thing where you rewind and say, this is actually what was happening.
Yeah.
But they clearly didn't do a good job of that. And I think one of the, I have it in my notes here.
Why did Buddy in the mine shaft have a briefcase with the Mind Flayer in it?
Yeah. Hold on. So so I'm reading the plot from the show. Apparently in 1943, the U.S. Navy was conducting an experiment to turn their ship invisible, and they accidentally go to the abyss. So that's like the U.S. accidentally teleports themselves a ship
Through
to
a
the abyss.
wormhole.
Okay.
No, just teleports to the abyss. The wormhole wasn't opened until 11 opened the wormhole.
Okay.
Wait, what?
Yeah, so the wormhole, the Upside Down, was created by 11 when she was looking for. So again,
So maybe the desert is the abyss?
Tell me if I'm wrong about this, viewers. But my understanding of it was that when Henry was banished by 11, he goes straight to the abyss,
Yeah.
to the piss planet.
Yes.
Okay, and then when the doctor guy, what was the doctor guy's name?
There's Brenner.
Papa. Yeah,
Papa
Brenner.
is Brenner.
So when Brenner has her reaching out for Henry, that's when the Upside Down becomes created.
Oh.
Yeah. And it's a link between
it's
the
definitely
two.
a lot of retconning there. But
Oh,
yeah,
100%.
that-
100%, which I'm like, you can retcon, but it's better to just know what
One
you're
of the
doing.
things I was going to mention is because the Upside Down and all of this stuff is getting so bizarre and so wrong. But one of the parts is like she's in Vecna's brain, right, going through his memories, Max, and I love how she's like, how are any of those memories there if Vecna wasn't there? How does he have memories of what's going on that he's not in the room? Like he's like, oh, in that room, Mr. Wheeler is feeling up Mrs. Wheeler. In that room, blah, blah, blah. It's like, what? He has to be there for that to be a memory. Like, this is like the school is just existing. And they're like, Henry's way over there. I'm like, well, how do you have memories of all these things that you're walking through right now? And so they definitely stretch themselves too thin. I mean, even the Upside Down has no rules. Like the people are just living there, walking around. Whereas before it was like, it was hard to breathe there. From what I understood, it was really cold.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody kept mentioning how cold it was, and now
super
like
cold,
that's-
super toxic. They had to wear hazmat suits when
Yeah.
they went in, and now they're just like,
it's just now they're just like having
feels
like,
good.
They're all like clowning around and
yeah,
like
it's ridiculous.
Just chilling.
They go to an
and
alien planet that has like this weird alien life form, and they can breathe just fine.
There's unproposing to each other. Can we talk about the
Yeah, can we?
unproposal?
Okay,
Please,
all right.
can we
So,
not fucking talk about
Marco's
this?
probably got
so
questions.
I've got no, not so much questions.
Hit me with questions.
It's not so much questions.
Oh, by the way, so I do have the answer to the Nevada, to the mine shaft.
Okay, go ahead.
So, so Brenner's father was the captain and sole survivor of the ship that got teleported to the abyss, and so he develops himself to recreating that. One of the personnel stationed at this Nevada military base was a spy for the USSR. They escaped. Also, in the play, it's not a moon rock; it's like a piece of technology. At this time, an 8-year-old Henry and the Creels live nearby, and he's just exploring the caves for fun, and he accidentally finds the stuff, and it takes him to the abyss. So, yeah, he just lived nearby and happened to walk into those mine shafts.
Okay.
Anyways,
There
continue
you
with
go.
your thought about the unproposal.
Okay,
Yes.
so it's not so much the unproposal that I want to talk about. I want to talk about the entire scene that, like, from
Oh, the
from
melting-
point in which she shot the ball of goop
battery,
or whatever it was.
Exotic matter.
Yeah, the exotic matter. There you go. From the point in which she shot the exotic matter to the point in which obviously the unproposal happened and blah, 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 blah. Okay. Visually speaking, again, I go back to the whole like, there were some things that I thought were really cool.
Yeah.
I thought after learning that it was a wormhole and that gravity doesn't make sense and things like, I thought the melting of everything was actually really, really cool.
I didn't have
All
a
the
problem
way
with
up
melting.
until it didn't melt anymore and it just became
yeah,
solid.
Yeah, why? I'm
Not really sure
it
why.
solidified.
Because it almost implied the show. I mean, it almost implied that if you are true to yourself, things just work out. And
That is a very fair
didn't
understanding
get it.
of the show because we haven't
and
even
then
gotten to Will's
also,
character.
Yeah, you know what? If you just take the script and you assume that there's like
An invisible force.
that there's like an invisible
that
force that just makes the
Right.
rule like if to
you
thine
were-
own self be true and that makes things work out for you.
right.
Yes.
Yeah.
That,
No, what happened was, what happened was the exotic matter was reading the script, was like, oh, they're not supposed to die yet. My bad. I'll
Right.
just whoop.
So, okay. So turns to solid. Okay, fine.
whatever reason.
Whatever. They did their trueness and great. They
Then it became
world saved.
erotic matter.
But they were stepping in it and it is all over their feet.
Yeah.
yeah,
And it is still
Gooey.
all over their feet.
yeah.
yeah.
But still gooey. Like,
There's just no consistency in anything.
be consistent.
Yep.
Man,
Like, okay, cool. Just make them jump on the table before they get their feet wet.
Yeah.
Then
It's
then
definitely
it
like a
solves
lot
that
of
Nothing
question.
in the show was consistent.
Yeah.
Nothing in the show was consistent.
just-
The Demogorgons, battle abilities.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to something that really annoyed me? Okay, so Callie, before we get to the unproposal, we'll come back to this. Callie
yeah, there's
is
also
like
that.
locked up in they like capture her. So the big thing is they have this base in the upside down. Why they put it in the upside down
I don't know,
and
unclear.
so far away from the mouth? Unclear. Doesn't seem to make any sense. Although I guess at the time there were no Demogorgons roaming around, but whatever. It's still a stupid idea. So they think, Eleven and Hopper think that might be where Vecna is, and that's why they can't find him. Because they have these like sonic things that turn off Elle's powers. Don't make any sense. Completely unexplained.
Demogorgon.
But she's like, oh, they're hiding something at Fortress. Maybe it's Vecna. They break in and they find out that, oh, it's actually Callie. So they rescue Callie and they get her out. And while they're out, she's like, I almost escaped once. And I was like 10 feet away from making it. But okay, here's the problem. She says like, oh, they captured me. They drugged me. They were draining my blood. I don't know how long. Presumably it was over the course of the 2 years that they were quarantined. So like a long time.
yeah.
She gets out and just starts beating the shit out of fully grown men, stabbing them, flipping around, kicking people. And I'm like, if you're
It was a very,
immobile
very
and in a
silly-
coma for a long
And
time,
nothing about her
you're gonna
powers-
have total muscular dystrophy.
Yeah.
And here's the bad part: when Max wakes up, she's like, "I can't see, I can't walk." It's like Han Solo. Why can't I see?
Oh,
You haven't
yeah.
used your-
You have
or,
hibernation
no, like the
sickness.
Matrix. I can't.
My eyes hurt.
My eyes hurt because you've never used them before. Yeah, I was like, so Max, they had to put in a wheelchair. Like Callie's not only been in this similar situation, but they've been taking her blood, so she would be like even more
worse.
weakened, and she's just like going all nutso butso. Like, there's no consistency here. You even acknowledge that being in a coma for a long time weakens your muscles. Unless I need you to be a badass girl who's taking all those dudes down. Like, they are fully grown-ass soldiers. She's not using her powers. She is a small girl. Do people not understand how physical differences work? Have you never gotten in a fight? That's the reality.
You definitely can't like think too hard about literally anything. I mean, you have Holly.
No, everything
Holly doesn't
is
know where
contradicted by something else in the same show.
Think
It's
about
crazy.
this. Holly doesn't know where she is in Abyss. The entirety of Abyss. I mean, we assume that this is a large planet face, however big this is. She crawls her
Immediately
way
finds the crack.
through this crack. A crack. Okay, first coincidence. Then falls through the air because for some reason the Hawkins side has the gravity. We'll just say that you don't have the gravity because that's supposed to be the inverse of that world, and this is the inverse of this world.
You would think you get stuck in the middle, right?
Exactly, but she just falls straight. And where do you think she falls directly onto? Out of anything on the planet, she falls directly onto Nancy and Jonathan going, "Oh, hey.
Oh, look, it's Holly.
it's Holly." Like, they said, "Oh, I can hear her." When she was like, I couldn't hear somebody three doors down.
It would have been hilarious if they're like,
so dumb.
we
You
need to
just
get
can't
Holly.
think
And
about
Nancy was like, sometimes I still feel like I can hear her. That would have been hilarious.
should have happened.
But no.
Yes, the coincidence is you just can't think very hard about it. But let's go back to the because I don't want to get too lost in that because we could sit here for 4 hours being like, and this was an inconsistency. There were so many plot holes and problems with specifically the way that like Vecna and the Upside Down work.
I want to dig into the bad character decisions.
Okay,
to me, that's the more important
So
stuff.
getting back to the unproposal,
Unproposal.
the actual conversation
Yeah.
of the unproposal, I thought, weirdly enough, not that bad.
Wrong.
Well, here's why. Here's why.
Wrong.
From a person that's not incredibly engulfed into these characters, they just figure it out that they're not good for each other, but in a respectful manner. And they just like, hey, I don't like when
but
you do that.
that's
Hey, I
not
don't like
what
when
it
you do that.
was.
Hey, I don't like when you do that.
But that's not really what
we
it was.
shouldn't do this. All right, bet. Sounds good.
No, that wasn't.
Yeah, but then you fall into each other's arms crying and I love you,
what they
saying
said,
I love you.
I love you romantically.
know.
However, we shouldn't be together is a very stupid plot point. It's one thing to say,
okay.
I do like you, but not romantically. Right? Like, I thought I was in love with you, or I was in love with the idea of you, which is cringy, but you could have gone that direction. But no, they're just full on like, I do love you. And Jonathan's basically like, but I don't want to hold you back from the greatness that you could have.
No, dude, it was
Okay, there's certain things in there I agree with that it's first off, it's cringy. I don't disagree there. But the idea, the whole concept is them figuring out that they aren't actually good for one another. For whatever the reason is, but they figure it out and they have the conversation and they were like, all right, bet, we shouldn't do this. Cool, got it. You're in? I'm out? Cool, bet. All right.
Disagree. Because the things they were disagreeing on were like super trite things. And if you really love someone, those super trite things, you'll work around those.
But it wasn't even trite things.
See, I kind of disagree though, because Buddy was always drunk.
High.
Yeah.
High, and she was always drunk, and they hated it when they were
And they hate
together.
it.
And
So guess what? So you stop. So you change for that other person.
Yeah,
but both of them are
but-
like, but because it's like to thine own self be true. Like you can't actually. If you change, you're giving up.
Nah.
So what I thought about it, which was dumb, is that one, you've been so this is backstory that you not
Right, I'm
watched
not
the show as
entrenched
much.
into the show,
So
right.
the show opens with Nancy being really into Steve, and Steve is really into Nancy. Steve is a little bit of like the popular jock guy, and Nancy's just a very conservative, sweet girl that doesn't do a whole lot of bad things, but she's starting to get a little more like adventurous and stuff, right? And so you're thinking, oh, well, that's going to be a clearly bad direction, and she's going to find solace in somebody like Jonathan, who's kind of like a loner, but a very sweet guy. And that does start to happen, but a surprise happens because Steve changes his character. He's like, hey, I don't want to be that guy. I'm sorry if I was, and I did some immature things, but I just want you to know that I actually do really like you. It's not me just being a douchey guy. Like, I actually really, really like you. And she's like, great. And she ends up with Steve, and that's like the end of season 1. Might as well have been the end of everything. That is the end. And Jonathan still has some shred of character left because he really cares for his brother, Will. Like that's his main thing. At the end, he's filming Will, and he's so happy for him. And like, that's the end of season 1. That all makes sense. Then season 2 happens, and it's a disaster. And they're just like, Steve, apologize for being, he's like, hey, I love you. And she's like, no, you're bullshit. And then afterwards, he's like, I'm so sorry that you said that I was bullshit. And she's like, I just don't know if I can forgive you. And I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah,
like,
that
did I
was
just
so
take crazy pills? And so then she like creepy Murray, who, geez, we can talk about how creepy that guy is. He's just like, you guys can have sex on my bed if you want. I'm like, dog, these are like 15-year-olds.
Yeah, that
was-
What are we doing? Who are you? Stop being creepy.
There's
So
a
then-
couple creepy people in that show.
let me finish this thought on Jonathan and Nancy, because this all culminates with a stupid unengagement. So then she cheats on Steve with Jonathan. Steve is still apologetic for the fact that she had to cheat on him. And anyway, so now she's with Jonathan. All right. So then season 3 opens up and she's happily with Jonathan, and Steve is sulking a little bit about that, or he's like, yeah, I thought I loved her, but I guess it's not. And then season 4 rolls around, and now for whatever reason, the Duffer Brothers are just like, we're just gonna make Nancy and Jonathan like not like each other anymore. He's gonna be in California, and he's gonna be like, oh,
Super
like,
pothead
super
suddenly.
pothead, and then she's gonna be like, for reasons that they're not telling the audience, they're just like, I just don't know. And you think, because there's all these character development between Steve and Nancy, that like, oh, they're going to do what they should have done the whole time and revert back to Steve and Nancy rather than Jonathan and Nancy. Because at this point, Jonathan has become nothing. Like, talk about a character who like had season 1 and then was literally nothing for the rest. He had just became a plot device for Nancy. He's like, hey, Nancy, you're great. Literally, his stuff at the end talking was like talking about Nancy. That was it. It's his only character was just talking about Nancy and telling her how great she is.
No. His new character is he's a communist.
That was hilarious.
Wait, what?
His
This
movie
very
that
end,
he
he's
made.
like, oh, I'm making this movie about
Oh my God,
anti-capitalism.
yes.
I'm like, shut the fuck
God.
up. Oh
sitting
my
there with
God.
his crossed legs and his
Oh
skinny
my
jeans, and I'm
God.
like, dude, this guy needs to go leave.
Wait,
you were
yes.
nobody
Now
likes
that
you.
explains it's not just Will. Like, it's their whole family's gay. It's fine.
God. Jeez.
So, anyways, so now we have Nancy and Jonathan coming back together finally, because we get that at the very end of season 4, but now they're actually presumably together for the past 2 years, but there's no chemistry whatsoever, and Steve still really likes Nancy. Of course, they don't end up together. Man, we can talk about that. But anyways, so you knew that there was like, okay, you're gonna have to explain why they don't like each other, and they're just like, we had shared experience. That's why it was just a fling, whatever. And to your point, Marco, well, fine, maybe you don't like each other. That's fine, but then don't like fall over each other crying, telling each other how much you love each other, and you're like, I'm just so in love with you. And I'm like, this is the dumbest, most just like postmodern conversation I've ever
Yeah.
heard, where it's like, oh, I
But
love
it's-
if it had just been that conversation without the wedding ring, I would have been fine with
Okay,
it.
fine.
But the actual unproposed, where it's like he was in a position where he was like, I think I want to marry this girl, and if you're like, actually I don't want to, then you could talk about that. But the idea of like, and I'm setting you free by not marrying you, it's like your dim view of marriage, first of all, is not at all reflective of the 80s, but second of all, get that shit out of here.
Okay, fine. But also the emotions came from they came from the fact that they were about to die, or presumably about to die, and then obviously
that's fine. They needed to get to the end of that.
Plot
It's
defense,
fine. I just thought that the idea of an unproposal
Yeah, I
and the fact that they
despise that.
spent so much time just like, I mean, the more offensive part is that we're gonna sit here and watch these characters pant back and forth.
Well,
Like,
and,
just
and-
we get that, and I'm like, dog, like we get this is
Yeah.
so cringy, and
And
it's
it-
so awful, and it's about two characters not ending up together. So go away.
But the thing is, and in a vacuum, sure,
wait now.
sure, I can acknowledge the way you feel about that in a vacuum. But then we take how Nancy's epilogue goes, and it's like, oh no,
Oh,
it's
God.
just this shitty. Go live a career life and die alone. It was Wendy and
Yes.
Peter Pan. They Wendy and Peter Panned her.
Yeah.
And if you ever come with even earshot of being like Wendy and Peter Pan, you need to find a new career.
Well, I love how they paint Steve in that picture to be like the kind of like, I don't know. It felt like they were painting him to be a little bit of a loser, like you sticking around in Hawkins. He's like,
Yeah.
oh, you guys don't like it? And they're like, oh, we would never come back here, please. I'd be like, you just all go die.
Yep.
All of you
All
go
of them.
die because everybody in the world is watching the show because of how cool this little small town is. And you guys are like, I live in New York now. I'm making movies about anti-capitalism. I'm living so-and-so else in this city with my lesbian lover. Oh, I'm living over here, living
think
the
that's-
corporate life. Oh, you're still living in this town that you grew up in, being a baseball
Being
coach
happy?
and like wanting to fall
Living
in
a
love and get
fulfilled
married.
life.
Yeah.
How dare you?
Yeah, I think that might be the real reason why I didn't like the epilogue at the end. Like just
their whole
concept
thing was
the whole
terrible.
like post fight was throw as much woke shit as they can
was
in
obnoxious.
a 45-minute, let it be known, time span, because it was way too long.
But,
But it was
like-
just too much for me.
And
So I
this
didn't
is the
mind-
most girl boss I've experienced in a long time.
Yeah.
And I never felt that. Like, there's a little bit, but I never really felt that from Stranger Things.
Dude, I was telling you guys about Nancy for a long time. I'm
no.
like,
I realized
Nancy-
like Nancy, but she wasn't like so pivotal to the plot. This one, she was like the anchor for everyone. And the other one, she's like, yeah, that's a little silly how competent she is about doing all this stuff. And the scenes where she's like doing the reporting thing, that was so obnoxious. But okay, it was like little side bits. This, it was like front and center, and it was intolerable. And then you have Linda Hamilton being the ancient grandma that everyone's just terrified of because of her imposing physical figure when she's 3 foot tall and weighs 100 pounds. Like,
I mean, Elle was already a very strong female
Yeah.
character, and like that works. She has superpowers. Like that all checks out. Like I can believe that. I can believe that this person that can control things with her mind is a very frightening person. Nancy is not believable at all.
Nope.
Linda Hamilton, my goodness, let that woman die in peace. So some of the other problems that I had, I want to touch on before we get into like specific characters. Elle's look. Why did Elle just look like? Why was her only expression?
I could tell
the
you. I
acting
could tell
in
you
this
why.
season was not phenomenal from a lot of the people. Like
I
Finn
could-
Wolfhard, who ironically is the only one who doesn't look that much older.
I can tell you exactly.
His
why.
acting was
I can
terrible.
tell you exactly why Elle looked like that the whole season.
Botox?
No, not that, because that's Instagram. She's Instagram famous now because of all this, and she has a bajillion views of her basically being naked, and that is the quote unquote model look that you would see on Instagram. And
It was
this and that,
her
and she
making, like,
can't figure-
I-
it's like the half duck face. It's like this weird like half thing,
It was
and it's
the
it's every
only
time.
face she made
Yes.
forever. It was the only. It was like I'm sad.
And Will only made
I'm
this
angry.
face.
Well, let's hold off on Will for now. We'll leave him. For the
Oh,
end.
we got to leave him for the end. 'cause
gay.
He's
But anyways, so Elle, yeah, I mean,
So-
the
so-
best memes I see are the one where it's like it's Squidward's like chatted out face where he's like, it's her right next to it, and I'm like, dog, that's
so
the
good.
closest I've ever seen. It's like I'm gonna pull it up. You can hear. Go
Oh
pull it
my
up, Marco,
gosh.
while we talk. Like it
Oh,
is. It will tell you exactly what I'm talking about.
yeah, the acting, Millie Bobby Brown acting was not it. I mean, again, like as a child, like when she's doing young Elle, the kind of Dear Lost in the Woods face works really well. It makes a lot of sense. And then, but she's grown up, and so
Put it on the screen.
Hold on, I'll pull it up in just a second. I'll pull it up.
just
Yeah, she was like the biggest. She doesn't even look like. I mean, most of the kids don't look like they were when they were kids, but
No.
she is the biggest. Where, especially this season, I could not tell.
This
Okay,
is
this is
the.
I'm telling you, it was that face
That's so
the
good.
whole time. If you question me, go look back.
my
She
God.
does not
It's
make.
so
does
funny.
does her philtrum extend down through her lip, or does she have a cut on her lip in that scene?
I think
I don't know,
That's
but
just
it's
her-
so
Because
funny.
got definition in
your
her bottom
philtrum
lip.
is not supposed to go through your lip.
That's so
Like,
funny.
That's
Yeah,
that's quality right there.
Anyways, okay. Last thing before we get, I want to do just quick kind of popping through the
Yeah, yeah.
characters, and that's where we get to Will. Before we get that, there's one more thing I want to talk
He's gay.
Nancy Wheeler's mom.
Oh Lord,
Dude, this
Both of
girl
them should have died.
This girl, and we can just kick off starting with the characters by talking briefly about her. But like, okay, she is a non-factor in the rest of. She exists
like
only
the Wheeler
to be.
parents are a joke.
Yeah. They don't exist in any way throughout the last 4 seasons. Mrs. Wheeler pops in like at one point to be really sexually attracted to a high school boy and come close to cheating on her husband, although she doesn't, which is really awkward and weird. She has one little pep talk with Nancy, and other than that, she is nothing. In this season, they felt the need.
And Mr. Wheeler is even less than that.
Yeah, Mr. Wheeler is just there to be like a gag, or like to be like that one dad that you're like, yeah, I remember that guy that used to always like just kind of say things, and you'd always be like, man, that's kind of right, but like he'd just kind of say, he'd just say.
I don't know. I think he was supposed to be like a bad husband.
I don't.
dad guy.
But he didn't come across that way at all.
Not to me, but I think he was
No.
intended to be that.
He was supposed to be, but at least in the last season, he was
Oh, for
supposed to
sure.
be, and he just,
Of
I
course.
don't know, he was like a normal guy that was trying to make ends meet.
But the problem is that they're like, oh, Mrs. Wheeler, we got to do a little send off. Okay, great. Have her like give a little pep talk. No, let's have her beat a Demogorgon, like stab it. Okay, if she doesn't beat it, she gets slapped. She
holds out
stuns
better
this-
than a bunch
she-
of fully
it is-
armed military men do.
Aside from Will using the gay to kill the three of them,
He's gay.
she is the only one that has a shred of success against these absolute tanks of creatures that run roughshod through a whole bunch of military dudes with guns, and she stuns this thing and is stabbing it a bunch of times, and it's like, how do I beat this drunk middle-aged woman? Oh, okay, I beat her and I'll get away. I'm bleeding, and I'm like, what? Like, so anyways, we have that, right?
And she survives. Mr. Wheeler, we have no idea what happens. But
Then she comes back within a neck brace and decides to blow up 3
okay,
Demodogs.
okay, let's talk about that scene. So first of all, complete ripoff of Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Like that, complete, like almost shot for shot of the Velociraptor scene.
pretty much.
They're in the washer dryer room, and they're like, oh, the Demodogs are here. We're totally gonna die. And then one of the washing machines activates, and the Demodog's like, oh, what's that? Because Demodogs are stupid when they need to be. And then it's like an oxygen cylinder in there and explodes, kills all the Demodogs, doesn't hurt anyone else. And then Miss Wheeler just shows up like, yeah, I'm the baddest bitch in the game. And you're like, you are hobbling around and you're telling me you snuck downstairs, got the oxygen tank in, and turned it on without making a single noise.
That's so dumb.
And without any of the Demodogs hearing you. It was so stupid. And Finn Wolfhard is like, or Mike's like, my mom's such a badass. Wow, go mom. Like, stop glazing her, you idiot. Tell her like, Mom, that was really dangerous. Go back to your hospital room.
That was awful.
Also, shouldn't you be dead? Yes.
She should.
They absolutely should have been dead. Like, the Duffer Brothers just didn't have the balls to kill anyone. I think half the cast should have died. Max should be dead. The Wheelers should be dead. I think 11 might be dead. Will should have died for sure. I think
He's-
either Steve or
he's
Jonathan should have
gay.
died. I'd rather be Jonathan.
Yeah.
So I think Jonathan should have died.
Kill Jonathan. Have
Kill the
Steve,
whole
like,
Byers family.
Oh my gosh, Miss Wheeler too, or Miss Byers too. So let's go through and talk about the characters, and then talk about in farthest form of relevance to closest to the most key characters, and we'll start with everybody that's within the. So we'll start with Erica, who we can all be happy
Erica
was great because she was in like 2 scenes.
Who said that Erica was one of their favorite characters? Someone said that when we were doing our previous contest, and I'm like, okay, she is a psychopath.
Yeah.
If you like, I
That
was
girl
thinking about
is
this. Like, if
nuts.
she was in a Disney Channel original movie,
on.
she would be the villain that gets her comeuppance at the end.
Yeah.
She would be the bully that everyone that like is beating up on the kid who's the protagonist. She is a nightmarish creature.
Yeah.
I don't know what people say. Like, oh, she's smarter than everyone. She's sassy all the time. She's a prick.
Yeah, she's
an
literally her
obnoxious
one attribute
bitch,
is
and she's
that
psychopathic. She's like, you should have eaten your pie, and then stabs a girl, an innocent girl, with drugs, and like,
it's wild.
She is going to grow up to be a murderer.
Yeah,
there is zero doubt in my mind.
she's
gonna kill
crazy.
someone.
I'm very glad that she was in it. The
She should've
brevity
died.
that she was in would have been fine with. Actually, if she died, she would have become a martyr. So just literally like nuke her from the show. Just have her never Argyle.
You mean
her.
like they did to Susie?
like Argyle and Susie,
Argyle and
just
Susie.
like they never existed. Who are they?
I mean, so the funny thing is, Argyle, it makes sense because he was from California. He didn't
Yeah.
move back with them. So fine, Argyle's out of the show. Plus, I didn't really like his character anyways.
No.
But Susie, Dustin just like, she just doesn't exist anymore.
He like hits on the girl at the end.
Can you see this?
Yes, you can see this. Oh, those characters. We get a
There
tier
are
list.
we have a
characters?
tier list character.
All right, hit us with the
okay,
first
hold
one.
on. Let me go back to this. So
Okay, so we're not going to do every one of these, but
there's on this there are essentially 2 lines. So here, let me show the audience here what we're looking at.
so before we get
Just walk through the characters, and that'll actually get us to talk.
Yeah.
And we can say skip that one, come back to it.
well, how about we do this? I only have a list of just like a handful of like the main characters. Let's talk about them first and afterwards, because I'm not going to talk about ranking them. I'm just going to talk about like how we felt about them this season, and then afterwards we'll just do a tier list of like all those characters. So
Okay.
that'll be a lot of fun.
Right.
All right. So the other characters going down the list, we have Murray, who at this point
He's there.
Murray is just turned into. I'm just going to be a joke and just talk really loud at people
You
the
ever
whole
have,
time.
have either of you seen Spy? I know you haven't because you don't watch as much anime as I do. But have you seen Spy Family?
Marco watches
No,
zero anime.
I don't. I watch
You watch less
negative
anime.
anime.
So Spy Family, the main spy guy, he's just got this dude called Frankie, and Frankie's just his guy for everything. he just like Frankie, and now Frankie's a great character. I think he's a better character than Murray, but literally he'll show up when the main character's like, oh, I need XYZ. I need information on this. I need this on that. Like Frankie's like the guy who'll get you something.
Mm-hmm.
That's who Murray is. That's literally all he does. He just shows up with gifts.
And like we don't know
and then
how
dips.
he got to that role where he can just get you anything into the quarantine. Like so Murray is just the guy. He's constantly just yelling at people. He's still creepy and weird.
Yeah.
And he's virtually nothing in the show.
Yeah.
Like let's see less of him. The next one is Robin, who geez Louise. That girl's character. So let me
I can't stand
If she was
her.
any more of an
Yes.
airhead, she would float off into space.
I think the biggest issue goes back to the whole concept of like, sorry, I don't, my screen's on the other thing. So
You're good.
I think the biggest issue with her is it's very similar to the just nonstop sound effect.
Yeah.
She doesn't shut up.
Will not
She's
shut
awful.
her
But
damn
that,
mouth.
I mean, that's like her shtick or whatever.
but this is-
like,
but it wasn't
it's
in season
too
3.
much.
So like
it's too much.
So in season 3, she's introduced as the person that's working with Steve at Scoops Ahoy at this ice cream place. She is incredibly grounded. Like Steve, your friends
Yeah,
are here again.
she's
and
snarky.
She's a little snarky, but she's kind of like the band geek, whereas Steve was the popular guy. So she's here, kind of like rolling her eyes at him, and she's kind of smart. Like she solves puzzles. Like. And she's to be honest, she's a fine character.
Yeah.
Like I enjoyed her. Then she was given these like truth serum drugs that made her like super weird
that
and
made her
quirky.
gay. Hit the button.
He's gay.
So they get these truth serum drugs and they're both like cracking up and hysterical. And this is what I feel like. I feel like the truth serum drugs just stayed in her system forever. and she's just like, oh, I'm just going to be like this all the time. Like in season 4, she was just like, oh, hi, I mean, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you weren't like this all the time.
They made her a
Stop.
manic pixie lesbian girl.
And
So
then,
annoying.
Yeah.
and then in season 5, dude, we have to hear her narrate everything. Hello there, Hopkins, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, why? This doesn't even fit your character that you'd be this outgoing, poppy radio host. That makes no sense. I'm done hearing from you. Also, she's incredibly smart because she's a lesbian and she's a woman. She's like every problem they have, she's like, oh my gosh, we can just do this. And it's like the right thing to do. And I'm like, geez, okay.
You know what it is? It's the power of the pussy.
Okay.
All right, Sean Connery.
Okay. Next character.
Moving on swiftly.
Jonathan. Dude, Jonathan has ceased to be a character since like season 1. Like I
Yeah.
said, Jonathan is nothing. Like he is literally nothing. He used to have a little bit of like in that first season, he cared for Will a lot, and that was what was motivating him. He's a little bit of a loner kind of guy who sees the world as being really negative, and like they have that moment, him and Nancy, where they're like, "What are you afraid of?" And Nancy's like, "I don't want to end up like my parents." And I'm like, "Okay, there's a character somewhere in there." And then it was just like, also I'm gonna be, and then it was like trajectory for the next several seasons. Like Nancy just becomes Rambo. For him, he's like, "Well, I just think that like the world is like," he basically just like takes shots at everybody. He's like, yeah, nobody says what they're feeling, and they're all whack and blah, blah, blah. So he kind of like, he's a little bit of a loner. He doesn't really trust a whole lot of people, and he's really worried about his brother.
a nihilist.
He fiercely loves his family. Okay, well, that's his character. But he is nothing after that. After that, he's just like crawling like a little puppy dog after Nancy and be like, oh, I don't know if I like her. Maybe I do like her. She's just so amazing. She's too amazing for me. I mean, she needs to... Anyways, Jonathan is nothing. In this whole season, he exists literally to tell Nancy how great she is. Which leads us to Steve. Steve is he's the best character in the show.
The best character, and but the first couple episodes where he and Jonathan are like
oh my gosh.
fighting over Nancy is just awful,
Well,
and it doesn't fit Steve at all.
And it went from him fighting with Steve to him fighting with Dustin. And I'm like, dude, I can't
Yeah.
stand that either.
And
like,
the thing is,
it
like,
took way too long for him and Dustin to make up.
It took so long for him, Dustin, to make up, and really, Dustin was mostly in the wrong on that
Yes,
one. I was
Dustin-
like, but Steve was the one who has to apologize again because it was like Dustin was just being an asshole.
Yeah, and Dustin admitted he's like, oh, I'm sorry, you know, I lost Eddie, and I don't want to lose you too. I'm like, that makes sense.
And as soon
why
as
did we
they
spend
made up,
6
it was
episodes
great.
do that
Yeah.
to do that? Your guys' dynamic is some of the most charming stuff that we can see on screen. Like it started in season 2, and it's one of the best scenes is the two of them walking on the railroad track, and you're kind of like. It's funny even to them that they're hanging out, and even the people watching the show are like, "Oh, I didn't think that these two characters would end up hanging out." But they're walking, and Steve is kind of like, "Yeah, this is annoying, you little snot." Like whatever, they're throwing food to try to track this thing, and he realizes that Dustin's like having all this trouble about this girl who came into like their party, and now him and Lucas both like her, and he's like, "Yeah, I don't really know what to do." And he recognizes this, and he reluctantly is kind of just like, "Well, this is what you need to do," and he gives him some advice for girls. They're like, "This totally works." Steve is the popular cool guy. These are the good attributes that he has. If he's going to share something and be kind to another character, this is the way that he can do it. He's not going to be like, oh, I can solve this math equation. But no, the things that he can do that are good are share his popularity tips and this and that. And that's exactly, and it works. And then at the end, they kind of come back and he like drops him off at the snowball dance. And he's like, hey, remember all those things that I told you? And you're like, oh, I love this so much. And so season 3 opens up with him, you know, evolving that friendship and being like, oh, dude, you were at summer camp. I'm so pumped to see you. And they sit down and they chat about things. Like, that is all great. And then it was like, dude, it's just gone. Like, really, just,
and it was an evolution for Dustin, too, because Dustin was like, Dustin had the struggle of like, well, these are my besties. It feels like we're drifting apart somewhat. And then Steve became his new bestie.
Yeah.
And so he dealt with it better. But then this season, Dustin was just being an asshole for 90% of it, and then they finally made up, and then it was great. I was like, why did you wait till the very end?
Have that? Like, they could have not been there at all. Like, we could have just not dealt with that. But anyways, Steve is great. He constantly, like I said earlier, is apologizing for just being the greatest character, for just being like
I'm sorry I'm showing all of you
a masculine white guy. He's like, I'm just so sorry for being...
Guys, I'm so sorry that I'm
Let me just say a whole bunch of dumb things. Well, how do you put the thing... Oh, Steve, shut up. Here, Nancy, tell us what we need to do. That's like every single scene happens until finally he's like, well, what if we get up on the water tower? And everybody's like, that actually wasn't stupid. I'm like, dude, how does he, why do you, you're the only one that isn't related to somebody in this group that has, you don't have any motivation to be helping these people. Why are you helping these people?
They all hate you.
Yeah, everybody hates you. You're only here because you're selfless and you're brave. Everybody else is like, well, my brother here, my sister's here, my best friend. You're just there helping. Anyways, so Steve, best character.
And because he was the best character and he was a straight white man, they had to shit on him.
Hopper's the next character to talk about. Hopper, man, they just do circles with this character arc. If the number of times that they're like, and he had a daughter and she died.
Did you know he had a daughter and then he's worried about
Elle? Did you know? Hey, he had a daughter. So and if you're not aware, his daughter died, and that's why he's overprotective of Elle. And I'm like, we've been talking about that for 5 seasons. Please stop showing me flashbacks of this bald girl in a gown.
Yeah, I think when it comes to acting, I think Hopper's the actor who played Hopper was probably the best of the show. Maybe not as good as. See, the thing is I don't know that much in the previous seasons, but the last season, the guy who played Vecna, the human version of Vecna, is phenomenal.
He's phenomenal. Period. I mean, you can't get over the fact that he's such a great actor.
Oh yeah, he did a really good job of acting that part. But Hopper, whoever played him, I can't remember the guy's name.
David Harbour.
David Harbour. I think he would probably be up there with the best actors
for sure.
in the show.
For sure.
Yeah, and
he's trying.
And through seasons like season 1, he's phenomenal. Season 2, I like the end of like season 3, like the letter that he writes to Elle. I think that it felt very authentic. Like, and they wrap it up with him talking about keep the door open 3 inches. All that stuff is very sweet and great. Although his relationship with Elle, it gets really obnoxious and he's borderline abusive. And when you like, they just run him in circles and they do a little bit of the Steve stuff with him where they're just like, You've got it all wrong. Stop trying to overprotect her. You have to believe in her. That's what you really have to do. And I'm like, okay.
Spoken like someone who's never had kids.
Yeah, like do this over and over again. So he just became a resounding gong of like, he's going to try to be overprotective and Elle's going to push away. And we got that for the entire season. So he's fine, but like he's just more of the same. Joyce felt like she could have died.
She was so good in season 1, and then they just didn't know what to do with her.
because they were like, hey, what are we gonna do for this? Like her, what is she like? We have all the people. They have like certain things that they do. What does she do? Well, she's a manic, like overprotective mom who's like kind of feels like she's going crazy, but these things that keep happening, and she's trying to let people know that like she knows that she probably sounds crazy, but these things are. But she was great. She's such a good actor. Like she's great. Then they're like, let's just have her do it again in season 2. It's like,
and then do it again,
and then do it again, and she's freaking out about her magnets.
Do it again in season 4.
And then this one, she's doing the same things, and she's holding this grown ass man on her chest, like my little baby Will. And he's
to be fair,
mom, and I'm like, the dude is
he's gay.
Thank you.
Okay, but anyways, she doesn't care at all about Jonathan. I mean, she could care less. She's like, no, you can't take Will. Take Jonathan. Like the car ride where he's like, hey, I need somebody to man the whole thing because Dustin's not here.
No, I care about this son. That son can die.
She's useless. Poor girl. I mean, highest paid actor on the whole entire thing. Well, at this point, Millie Bobby Brown for the last seasons, but first season for sure. Useless. Max. So Max again,
literally useless this
should have been dead. Should have been dead. She plays a big role because she's like in the brain of Vecna.
The thing is, she doesn't even need to be there.
No,
If you
she
cut her
needs to
out,
be dead. She doesn't
if you cut her out, it doesn't change the plot.
Because basically she just explains to Holly what is going on and where she is, and then Holly figures out the way to get out and to do everything.
And that's it.
That's it. And then yeah, Max is she accompanies Elle through the
Mindscape.
There's this
Unclear.
really weird thing where she's like, oh, if we walk into this play and then jump through that door, all of a sudden we're at the place we need to be. And I was like, unclear how any of that worked. She's useless. I will say I do like basically the epilogue. I liked all the kids like when she talked about her and Dustin, or I mean her and Lucas like the Zoomer and the night ending up together. Like that's sweet. Like I'm glad.
Sure.
Like that was the one couple that actually ended up together.
Yeah.
I was like, thank God. All right, there's nothing. I mean, okay, so you have
they
Joyce.
only get one?
You have Joyce and Hopper, but
Yeah.
like they're
Should have been Joyce and Bob.
should have been. But anyways, yes. So Max is a very small character. So now we can get into the big 5 characters. So we have Lucas and Lucas. I think last season was his strongest season. Last season is where
I
he's
thought
like,
he was fine in the last season, the one that I watched. I don't remember much of the first, to be fair, but I had
in
no
the
issues
fourth
with him.
season, I think was his strongest season where he joins the basketball
an
team.
important season for him.
He's kind of like flopping on the. I could actually be a popular kid, and
Yeah.
we've always been nerds, and like this is kind of a big deal for me, and I'm kind of like torn on this. And he also gets a lot of really good acting moments with Max. You can kind of see that he's actually a pretty solid actor. And this season he's. I
He's
don't know.
fine. He just didn't do a lot.
Yeah, none of them did a lot because you developed Holly the whole time.
Yeah.
So you have all these characters. You don't want to kill off any of them. You keep adding to the pot of characters, and you're like, and this season we will spend the primary amount of time on a new character.
Yeah.
And
Lucas didn't do anything amazing, but he didn't do anything offensive. He was there. He acted just fine.
Dustin is like at least initially was like one of the most charming kids
I liked
out of
him
the
a lot.
4. Like the first couple seasons, Dustin was like. He was more so like they were all kind of comic relief, but he was the most comic relief. But he played his character really well. Like I think that he was actually a really good actor for what he had to do. And then his relationship develops with Steve, and I think that makes him really cool. They develop him being like the smartest one for quite a while, so it kind of checks out that he's really, really brilliant. Although, man, again, we're not trying to blow holes in the plot points because we could just do that all night long. But the fact that there's like, oh, this notebook that explains everything that's going on right
and
now.
that he understands this extreme theoretical physics stuff
Oh, it's
that
so bad.
is
I don't
not
wanna-
understood now.
It's so bad. Like,
Even
because
in
I just don't want to
80s,
dip
it was
my
like
toe back
someone
into
wrote
how
down
bad the
exotic
show.
matter question mark. That's how far they had gotten.
I just don't want to. Anyways, so Dustin, again, he's very annoying this season. The whole like he's one of the best of the kid characters because he also has a really great relationship with Eddie in season 4. So you're like, he just does this well. He does good like guy relationships. Like he's a good friend. Like he plays that role really well. Let's see more of that. And then in season 5, he's like this loner goth kid who's just like, yeah, screw the world, you know. And he's
F the system.
trying to be Eddie. And I'm like, okay, that might make sense for like a second. And then you explain why. And then we get back to Dustin. We're gonna spend 6
I like
episodes
how
on
he's
this.
like F the system and F this school. Proceeds to be the one who goes to a big nerd college to be a big nerd. Hello.
So, anyways, he was fine, but I think this season was a downgrade for him. Although shout out to him and Steve for stabbing Godzilla.
Yeah,
with
when they
sticks.
finally made up, it was much better. But yeah, Dustin, they wasted Dustin this season.
So
100%.
then Mike is very similar to where Mike, after the first season of being really great, has kind of been nothing to the point where this is the greatest in season 4 where Will is like, you're the heart though. And he's like, that's right. I am the heart. And then he just turns to Elle and he's like, hey, you're the heart. But it was basically Will telling Mike that he can do it so that Mike could turn to Elle and say that you can do it. And I'm like, so what is Mike? So Mike has perpetually been nothing, and at the very end, there's this very obvious moment where they're like, he's telling them all what they're going to do, and they're like, and what about Mike? And I'm like, very good point. Mike doesn't do anything. And then he's like, I'll just keep telling stories. And it's
Alone,
it's a
by
bummer.
myself.
It's a bummer because him and Elle's tension and relationship really through the first 2 seasons. You don't get a ton of it in the second season because they're never together, which is one of the worst decisions in season 2 is to not have her together with the kids. But they come together at the very end of the snowball, and it's a really magical moment. His relationship with her in those first 2 seasons is so charming, and you love it. You love every aspect of it. You're like, this is adorable. You 2 kids. And then season 3 it's like written poorly, and they're just like really gross teenage like middle schoolers, and they're just making out all the time. And I'm like, all right. And it was just like, yeah, I dump your ass. And it was all the silly stuff. But the first 2 seasons, it was so great. And now it was like the chemistry between him and Elle was so forced, and literally they didn't kiss the entire time until the very, very end. And he just like kisses her, and then she like in the imaginary, so he didn't even kiss her in real life. Anyways, his character is a big nothing burger.
He was channeling Will. I don't like girls.
Okay, and the last 2 characters, we'll do Elle first before we. So Elle,
it was the same arc she had before, where she was like, "I'm ready to do more," and Hopper's not letting me.
Yeah,
that was it.
It was her only purpose, and man, the training montage, dude. It's like we realize that her powers are mental, right? Like you guys realize that. Like she should just be sitting there with her legs crossed, like focusing. Like that's what instead of like running.
Should have been more Yoda.
She's
training.
like running up ladders and jumping and like doing hurdles, and I'm like, what are we doing? She's not gonna karate
They never
chop
explained
anybody.
why she needed to get under 12.5 seconds of that particular court. Like what? So what? Why?
Unclear. You're crazy if you think that they had a purpose for that.
Yeah.
You're absolutely crazy.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of stuff that happened this season, they thought of. They did the Transformers where they're like, what looks cool? Let's do that.
She also
And
lost
does it matter?
a lot
Who
of
cares?
charm because I think at the beginning there was such a great the element of her not experiencing the world. I
Yeah.
mean, she didn't even know. She didn't know it. And I also saw some brief moment. There's this really funny rant where like somebody is addressing that in season 4, like when Henry divulges his entire plan and like why he does what he does to like little Elle, and then everybody's like, dog, she didn't understand the word friendship when she got there. You've been using words like like she should have just been like, what?
It's just like TV static noise.
She's sitting there like, I don't understand any of the words that you're saying. Like he's using all these. He's a monologue for like 2.5, 3 minutes.
forsooth, did mine.
Yes.
Mine own plans were elucidated, and I was like,
She should have been like, friends.
Friendship?
She's like, friends say the truth or whatever. She's like,
friends don't lie.
Friends don't lie. Anyways, so Elle, yes, she became a far less interesting character when she started learning how to speak better, and she's like, she's a full person at this point. She has no kind of like, she's not awkward at all, which is some of her charm. You even get a little bit of that in 4 still when she's in California, although that was a disaster. But like when she's writing the letter to Mike, it's kind of silly like that. So now she's like fully formed person and far less interesting and still arguing with Hopper. All right, last character to talk about is Will, who, I mean, you guessed it.
He's gay.
Bingo.
And
that's literally the only thing that happens.
So
that's literally his one characteristic.
So they do a big thing with him in this one, and they give him powers. His powers slowly being connected somehow like he was connected with Vecna so closely that he can kind of infiltrate the hive mind and control it a bit. I did think that the first revealing of this was really cool. The problem is, and this is the problem that you're going to get. Okay. I think you have a group of people that are super about just anything pride, LGBT, like if any of that is mentioned, like it's just better. It's instantly better. And you have like that camp. And I think you have the vast majority of people that just don't care. Like they're like, okay, that's fine. Like go be that. But they're like, just let me watch this thing. Like, and if he just happened to be a gay character, I would say Robin is similar to this.
Robin being gay. Did you hear us mention that at all?
Yeah, it's like
except except for her epilogue, where she's like, "I'm gonna go be a lesbian."
Yeah,
it's like we said it facetiously, but it's not like
her.
It's not
to be honest,
important.
even in season 3 in isolation, I thought that she was great. Even when she was like, "Oh, by the way, I'm gay. Sorry, Steve." Like I still thought she was a great character. The problem with Will's gayness,
Will's gay.
The problem with Will's gayness is that he's like, "Oh, I have to lean into it because that'll give me power. Like I have to be myself." And the irony, man, this one slapped me, is that you have Robin being like, "Hey, I'm super gay, like so I can teach you," type thing. Like so she's like taking him under her wing, and she's basically like, "Oh, I thought that I needed, I thought that I needed this person to be my everything. But in reality, I had it all in myself the whole time. And so he's
so
like, oh, I
narcissistic.
got to believe in myself. And but then it instantly flips to where he's like, for me to get true power, I have to tell all of you guys and get that power from you. I'm like, wait, what? This was one episode ago. One episode ago, you were like, oh, I have to not rely on Mike and all these other people. I need to believe in myself. Like,
Well,
I need to know
it's-
that.
it's-
And then
it's
he's
so
like,
funny, too,
moments
'cause
later,
he's-
he's like, oh, I need to tell you because that's how I'm going to get my power is by admitting this stuff.
No, okay. So here's what killed me when he was like, "Oh, Vecna rules through fear, right? So you have to conquer the fear." And when you think about, how did he get the fat kid, right? And he showed the fat
Yeah.
kid his dead parents,
Yeah.
and dead family, and it's like, yeah, like horrible, like I'm going to murder your family unless you fall in line, right?
Yeah.
Other people, he was showing them like super traumatic events in the past, like Chrissy was like her mom abusing her and yelling at her. For other people, it's like for the glasses kid, it was like the time he accidentally killed someone.
Yeah.
Right. These really traumatic events. And for Will, it's like, oh,
You're
I'm gay. But it wasn't even like, and people hate me because of it. No, it was like, and people are just like, oh,
People are
is he
worried about
okay?
me?
He's not normal. That's it. Like, bitch, are you kidding me? You're so pathetically frail that if your friends are like, hey, are you okay? You're like, you hate me. Ah! And then, of course, literally not a single ounce of pushback from anyone.
Yeah,
Like
the whole entire
the-
crew
like,
instantly is like, yeah, dude, like dog, we know.
Yeah.
You're pretty darn gay,
Brother, we know.
And then there's this really brief, awkward moment where like him and Mike talk, and Mike's like, "I'm so sorry that."
That
What?
you're gay.
Yeah.
Oh, no, wait.
Then he does the exact thing. He apologized. I'm so sorry, not for you, for me, because I should have known and been there.
You were there. Hello?
Yeah,
Question
you
mark?
were there, and the only thing
fact-
that was nervous was the fact that you didn't know. So like there
Right,
wasn't
in
a
fact,
thing.
you
if
were the guy.
Yeah,
You were so there that you were.
you were more
the
there
guy.
than you think,
Oh,
brother.
buddy.
What if he was like, "Oh, you were there, Mike"?
Oh, Mike.
So, anyways,
Okay,
Will's
so-
character begins with you're getting taken a whole bunch to a very brief, interesting moment in season 3 where he's like, "Hey, I didn't get to experience a childhood, and so I kind of still want to be a kid. And you guys are growing up, interesting." And then after that was just you're gay, and that's the
And
only
that's
thing.
literally it.
And then
That's-
now
that's
we're
the
gonna
only thing
make your
we can do.
superpowers tied to your gayness. The
You're
more
super
gay you
gay.
are. Yeah, just chap into the gay. Anyways,
All right.
those are the characters. So now let's do
hold
a
on,
ranking.
hold on. Do you want to hear my conspiracy theory?
Okay,
Oh boy,
give it to me.
make it quick.
So, so Will gets taken by Vecna, right? Because they had like extra flashbacks of stuff that didn't actually happen in the first season, because Vecna wasn't a thing in the first season. So they have like extra flashbacks of Vecna like taking him and being like, you and I are going to do great things together. Like I'm changing you, like that, and that's why he has powers, right? Vecna made Will gay. That's the connection.
So you're
Vecna was gay,
you're-
and he's infecting it. Freaking Vecna's in the Upside Down. Turn all the kids gay.
So you're telling me that that Will sat there and was like, "That's not too bad."
Yeah. No, he's just like doing that. He's doing like the mouth tentacle thing, and he's like, "I'm injecting the gay into you. You're gay now. Rainbow flags."
They pull it all out, and he's like,
Damn, no girl looking good. Yes, that's my conspiracy theory. That's my hot take conspiracy theory that Vecna is turning the kids gay.
Oh my
That
god.
Will was not gay before Vecna got him.
"Oh, I'm glad nobody
so
watches
funny.
this show."
There's literally
I would be-
there is
Marco,
literally
you-
one comment.
Mark, you make a short about that and you put it up there, and I'm.
There is literally one comment, and it's "Nadie os mira," which is nobody's watching.
It's true.
That's what
True.
the comment says.
Thanks, Mr. Brazilian or Portuguese.
That's it.
That's it.
Thanks, dude.
That's true.
Whoever that is, cool. Thanks, bitch.
In Spanish, it would be puta, but I don't know what it is in Brazil.
Okay,
Puta.
All right.
put the tier list on. Let's
Tier
get
list.
through this
Boom.
thing.
Let's
Yeah.
do it. Can you
Okay.
guys see the?
Yes,
I know it's
yeah,
a little.
Brenner.
First
Brenner
character.
Brenner, give it a
Okay,
B. B for Brenner.
So we are ranking them as characters in the show, or not as like written characters, as like we liked how they
Yeah,
acted.
yeah.
Brenner is
B
put
for
him-
Brenner.
No, D, dude. He's garbage. He's dog water. He just abuses
Oh,
kids.
yeah,
And
okay,
split
fair.
the difference at C. I
No,
guess.
Yeah,
no,
put him in D,
D,
put him in
D,
D.
D. He's
D.
bad.
All right. I don't know who this guy is.
Who's that?
I don't know. He's. Oh, I'm gonna zoom in. Whoop. That guy.
Oh, it's the Russian guy that helps him escape.
Yeah, it's the
He's
Russian
cool
guy.
people.
He's
Put
good.
him at A.
Yeah, he's
A.
A tier for sure.
All right. Sorry, guys.
Oh, it's Billy.
Billy.
Billy's D or C.
Give him a C.
Give him a C.
He did redeem himself.
He's a
kind
good looking dude.
of. Yeah.
Okay.
He's a hot devote body.
This girl.
Is that Nancy's
Did Vecna
mom?
get you too? Got him.
Is that Nancy's mom? That's Mrs. Wheeler?
Mrs. Wheeler, D.
D.
You
Sorry.
don't deserve to have lived.
You almost cheated on the greatest man in this show. I think that's Jonathan Byers.
Oh no! What is this?
Oh,
Boy,
God.
get out of here.
Oh God!
Go back. Go back,
Oh God,
Mark.
it's the porn.
Oh no!
Okay, well let's
Well-
table that. Okay, so let's just go through. We got through a couple of them. Let's just go through every character's epilogue and talk about them. So we talked about Dustin. Dustin goes to university. I think Hidden Steve had the best epilogue, although I have issues with Steve. I think they just should have shown Steve just married a good like a local Hawkins girl
Yes.
and settled down and was like
With a
running
kid, because he works so good with kids. I thought that would have been the best
And
thing.
I think him being on, I think him like being like getting a job where he works with kids made a lot of sense. The sex ed thing, again, why are you being weird about the sex and kids stuff? That's not Steve. That's the writers.
That's why I think it's they're throwing more mud at him. Like, hey, look at how dumb he is. He's just like a baseball coach and a sex ed teacher. I would never come back to this small
I
town.
think he should have
making
gotten married
movies
and been
about
like
anti-capitalism.
Been like,
Kill yourself.
So yeah, and but the Dustin thing where it's like, you know, Steve rocks up and they hug and they're like, we're gonna go on a little adventure.
Yeah.
That was my favorite epilogue.
Yeah.
Dustin obviously goes off to college because he's a smart cookie. Where the hell is Susie? Unclear.
Unclear. Incredibly unclear.
Lucas and
I like Lucas,
yeah,
Lucas and Max.
Lucas and
Great.
Max,
that was fine.
perfectly fine.
Somebody ended up together. My goodness.
Jonathan retarded. Nancy super retarded.
Robin fine.
Robin fine,
Robin
I
was
guess,
just like in this. What was she doing? Oh, she was in college too.
Yeah, and then
went
she
to
came
college.
back and did the radio thing.
It's just fine. You know what? Fine, whatever. She can't
She
shut her damn
wasn't. She
mouth.
wasn't in. She wasn't in Hawkins.
she didn't get
though.
the-
She was.
she
She was.
didn't get
Right.
the-
No, she just came back for like that
Yeah.
one little thing, and then that was it.
Yeah. What did who am I missing?
I mean, Joyce and
Joyce and Hopper got
That was
together.
good. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Fine. It's
That
good.
was good. And I like the way he did it because there's a whole scene where she stood him up at Enzo's, which is pretty funny.
Do we like that they left it open ended with Elle? Like
No.
Mike's version
I
of the
think they
story.
should have. I think they should have just been either said she's alive and then Mike finds her in Norway, or she's dead and move on.
Yeah.
The fact that they waffled about it was they couldn't. They probably wanted to kill her. Like thought it was better story wise to kill her. But okay, let's talk about that.
Well, I
the whole
think-
reason that the whole Callie like this only ends
I
when you
think-
kill yourself. I'm
I-
like, okay, that's so stupid. And this is where this season felt like it was written by the CW.
Well,
It was like I have to protect you by not telling you anything. I have to protect you by killing myself. Like, stop it.
if I'm going to give them a little
Get
bit
some
of
help.
credit,
If they really like you, if they really love you, they'll be there for you even through the hard stuff of like the military.
Which is the entire all 4 seasons prior
Exactly.
to.
if I had to give them a little credit, it would be that I do think that they brought Callie specifically back because they wanted to do that thing at the end. That they,
Sure.
they had it in their mind. They're like, hey,
Sure,
we want to
sure.
make Elle look like she died, but then because Callie can do this, we have to bring her back. Because I honestly don't think that
suppose.
they had. I think that they were probably in the same boat of going because nobody liked that random episode with Callie in it. Nobody did. So there was nobody like, oh, bring her back. Like, so I don't think that they were like, oh yeah, we have her back. Oh, and we can kind of make this mysterious thing.
Yeah,
no,
but
I think they were like,
I
in
think
order
if
to make that,
was
we
the
have to
actually
bring
what
her
happened,
back.
that it should have just showed. It didn't even have any dialogue, but it should have just showed Mike and Elle like either like Mike being like, oh, I went on a trip to just clear my head, and I was in Norway, and then Elle just like walks up out of frame or something like that. Just
Like you have the Batman thing, the end where he just
He's at the
nods.
cafe,
Yeah, it's like you
of course,
have
he was doing it for Net Bronca, so he's unhinged.
Yeah, for Nebraska. I didn't mind that. Again, the epilogue parts were probably the least offensive parts of the
for the
season,
most part.
mainly because
Except
it was pointing
for
to
Nancy got the Peter Pan and Wendy treatment.
Nancy. But we knew that was
corporate- yeah,
happening.
sure. But
Nancy
like-
from the beginning was like, I don't want to just live in suburban America, blah, blah.
I don't want to have a fulfilling life, a statistically more fulfilling life. I want to be miserable and Pop Sandy. Oh my gosh, it was funny. I was talking to my mother about this, and I was like, "Mom, you made the wrong decision. You chose to be a stay-at-home mom. You could have had a fulfilling life and worked a 9 to 5." Mom's like, "More than that, I could have been the bitch boss." I was like, "Hell yeah, Mom!"
I just don't, man. It just. Never mind. I would get into it. It would take way too long.
And this is where for the most part, like the show felt like it was in the time it was set in. This season felt like it was in the 21st century.
This is
pretending to be the 80s.
Yeah, this is what I felt. It felt like after the first 2 seasons, it was like this is the actual 80s, like where people are just everybody's smoking cigarettes. Which now that Netflix took over, like Netflix was like, you got to stop smoking cigarettes. If you notice, nobody does anymore. And the first few seasons, like everybody is smoking cigarettes constantly. The first 2 seasons, the third season on felt like somebody that was like, oh, we're going to an 80s cosplay party.
Yeah.
And that was what it was moving forward. Where the
Yeah.
first 2 seasons were actually like, this is what the 80s are like. And then the next 3 were just like, let's just play all the popular music and just look like we're from the 80s.
And of course, the shit icing on the shit cake, Will's like, I got to be somewhere where I can be even more gay. That's it? Like, so we'll all be excited.
That's
It just
his
shows him
epilogue.
in a gay bar next to a smiling dude. Like, are you joking?
that's his
all you
whole
can see.
thing.
Like, did he not? He has no career aspirations. His whole career aspiration is just, I'm going to go be gay.
He
Like,
was
He's gay.
like literally, that's it. Like, hello,
Poor guy,
And
'cause
Greg and I. So Greg was over at my house on New Year's, and we were having a conversation that some of my siblings, like when they have conversations, everything becomes sexual instantly.
yeah.
And we were like, yeah, it seems to be tied to the whole LGBTQ thing. When you make that the core of your identity, then you filter everything through that, so that becomes the only thing. Your only point of reference is sex, and it's
Yeah.
like that's not even like a tenth of life of real life, unless you're a porn star, in which case seek help.
And the problem
but,
is,
but it was so funny because we were outside smoking, and we went back inside, and they're watching Tangled, and immediately
they're all just
they-
talking
they're
about like the
talking
girl's
about-
boobs, the girl's
and
butt.
we're just like, yeah.
I mean, the
that's
sad,
what it's-
the
that's
sad
what it's
thing is
like.
like he had some threads there to pull on. He was Will the Wise,
And he was good at art. Like, he was an artist.
Exactly.
And they did nothing with
like
that.
dig into that a little bit. Like he illustrates for big things. And to be honest, I just thought that they could have poor kid. Anyways, but I knew that was coming. To be honest, and it's not shocking. As soon as
Everybody knew it
season
was
4
coming.
No, so
happened,
they made him gay because his actor Noah whatever is gay,
Came out.
and Noah whatever was like, oh man, if I had seen Will's coming out soon, I would have come out sooner. Like, bitch, you came out when you were like 12. What do you mean you would come out sooner?
I have no comments on that.
Yeah.
Anyways,
no comments at this
so
time.
overall, season 5,
Total wash.
very
Total
very
trash.
bad.
Out of 10.
Oh gosh,
2.
just the season or like
Just
the
season.
show?
So we'll do show and season. Show as a total, and then hone in on season 5.
I mean, season 5 is bad. Maybe like a.
Season 5 is a 2. I don't even think the epilogue. I like the
I
epilogue.
was gonna go a high 3.
Nah, I gotta go.
Just
2.
because it
Just
5 only exists if there are 4 other seasons, so
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to take out of context from everything else.
I'm happy to take it out of context. I think it's atrocious.
But
So
within it,
much
just
worse
just
than
as
4.
like if you're just gonna watch the end to watch how your characters all wrapped up, then you give it a 3.8
Nope, 2. Give
Okay.
it a 2. I thought it was terrible.
All right,
Terrible,
well,
terrible, terrible,
my
terrible.
one, I'm gonna give it a 5 or a 6 because
because you've never
I didn't
Because
see
you're
the
a
other ones, and
fool.
I'm not completely invested into the show.
moron.
So
That's fair.
But the thing is, even if I took season 5 in a vacuum, by itself, it is terrible.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I agree with you. I the only redeeming parts are the
epilogue,
characters
and that's it.
that you've watched, whatever growth that they have.
And again, half the epilogues are stupid.
That's fair. The whole entire show as a total, I would say it's impressive. It's impressive that you created something out of the air that was that watchable and that interesting. It went downhill very quickly.
If I was to do-
it felt like the Pirates of the Caribbean when the first one came out, and you're like,
It's excellent,
this
and then it just kind of
world is so cool. The characters are so great. Let's lean into all that to an obnoxious level. And the second one's like, oh, this is getting a little weird. And the third one's like,
Crab
it
women,
definitely needs
crab women.
it definitely needs to end in the third. And then they're like, we're just gonna make a couple other ones that are just really, really weird. So it felt like that. But the IP, if you were to be like, hey, how do you feel about Pirates of the Caribbean in total? I'm like, well, it was really creative to create that. So I still have to give Stranger Things its bones and probably give it like a high 6, maybe a 6,
I'd
6,
give it a
8.
7.
6,
I'd
8
give
or
it
a
a 7.
Yeah.
But if I were to, like, that would be an average.
Yeah.
Because season 1, I think, is like an 8.5.
Yeah, season 1 is very,
And then
very good.
season
And you can
2
watch it in
is probably a
isolation. You don't
7,
need
season
anything
3
else.
is probably a 5. Season 4 is probably like a 6 or 7.
The way I'd
and then
introduce this
season
to
5
somebody,
is a 2. And so when I think about the series as a whole, I'd say, yeah, I would ignore season 5.
I'd be like, watch this as a 1-season show.
Yeah.
Where they'd watch it and they go, oh my gosh, I loved it so much. I want to watch it again. And I'm like, all right, well, if you want to watch this really quirky excerpt. for like 4 seasons, they make a really wonky fan fiction thing that goes on if you want to watch that. And they'd be like, I'll watch it. It'll probably be weird. And that's what they'll think. Like, it was weird.
Ironically,
it wasn't that
they're
great.
like 4 seasons of fan fiction off this one season show. Very weird.
Anyways, all right, those are my final thoughts. Okay, so show-wise, join us. We're gonna take a little bit of break here before we start up season 5. We hope that you guys join us again. The
28 days,
Yep.
28 weeks, 28 years, 28 bones.
There we go. We're gonna be watching all 4
Let
of
it be known
those.
that 28 years later, Bone Temple comes out on January the 16th. But our show is not until February the 3rd. So it does give you some time to watch all of the movies upcoming too, and also the one that's coming out.
That's right. All right, well, go out there and watch those. We're gonna watch them. We will see you. Happy New Year. Hope you had a
New
great
Year.
Christmas break.
Hopefully the movies are better this year.
Yeah, we'll be around to tell you, or to
Yeah,
tell you
we'll
which
let you
ones
know.
not to see, and we'll hopefully
We're really good at doing that.
we're gonna slide some good recommendations in.
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
We'll do what we can.
I think so.
Teach me.